Because remember, they come out with the show on Sunday. So we'll actually know on Monday who's in the playoff.
Yep, I could have probably added that. Let's shut the door.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Big weekend of football that got off to an entertaining start last night. The Lions get it done. The defense with 5 sacks and 3 turnovers forced. And the offense made Dallas pay for the mistakes. Did they ever? Detroit with a must win. They're still out of the playoffs, but at least now mathematically they've got a shot. And the Cowboys, well, they probably need the Eagles to collapse. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you on this first Friday of December?
I am doing well. Good night last night. Enjoyed the football, enjoyed a little hockey, had a soccer game for my daughter. Full night, David. Full night. And, sometimes we're wrong and we're right anyhow, because you asked me, and I thought the way Detroit's defense was playing, I didn't think that they were going to win last night. Okay. You asked before the show if they score 29 or whatever it was, is that enough? And I'm like, no, it's not enough. And even with the turnovers and the sacks and all of the positive things that defense did, they still gave up 30 points. They needed every single point they scored to win the game. And Jared Goff was good. The running game was terrific. Dallas's run defense had been better. And Detroit's offensive line said, we're still good. When we want to get it done, Penei Sewell and company doing their job, Montgomery running between the tackles efficiently, and Gibbs is a pretty special player. He's fun to watch. He's shifty. And they got it done. Amon-Ra St. Brown playing injured. And you know how sometimes that positively affects the rest of a team. If he's out there doing it, well, damn it, we've got to do it too. And Detroit, in a must-win situation, took care of the Cowboys. And I think you're right, David. Without a Philadelphia collapse, I think you can stick a fork in the Cowboys.
Dallas 6-1. Right now, the final wild card in the NFC is 9-4. So that's a 2.5 game deficit. Heck, Detroit's 8-5 and they're out. So Dallas's best shot is to win the East. Best they can do now is 10-6-1. The Eagles now know if they get to 11, they're NFC East champs. With a big one Monday night in Los Angeles against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Are the Eagles going to snap out of it? If they win Monday, you think they'll probably find a way to get to the finish line. If they lose Monday, well, okay. Keep the Cowboys hanging in there, I guess. But, Mark, for Detroit, it's funny. You know, the running game was very productive, but Montgomery had the 35-yard run, and then otherwise he gained 25 yards. Gibbs was held to 43 yards, but he was in the end zone 3 times. The running game did not overwhelm Dallas. I think it was like around 110 yards rushing, but 4 rushing touchdowns.
Yes, and Gibbs was terrific catching the ball out of the backfield. So the running backs, while not getting all of these yards on the ground, you have to throw 77 more yards on top of that because that's what Gibbs got out of the backfield catching the ball. And without Laporta, it's important that he gets those touches and those catches. So you're right. Everything you said, I agree with wholeheartedly. But remember the screen game and what Gibbs does catching the ball and how important that is to the Detroit offense. Let me ask you this. We got a couple Lions fans in here, and I'm realizing that I do root for them. I want them to be good. I don't lose any sleep if they lose. You know, when Michigan State was good, where I went to school, and they're not anymore, so I don't care, but their hoop team, if they lose, I'm bummed out. That sucks. If the Lions lose, I don't have that same feeling, but I do root for them and yell at them on the television when they're not doing things that I like. That's what I'm like, things come out of my mouth. Like, did I do? What just happened there? But from a Lions perspective, who are you rooting for? The Packers or the Bears? And I say the Packers.
Yeah, I say the Packers. I say the Packers because you don't win a tiebreaker against Green Bay.
And that tie could end up biting you in the tuchus.
Yeah.
For a wild card. So I'd rather be a game behind the Chicago Bears playing them on the road. If I win, I'm in.
Correct. And the Bears' final 2 games are the Niners and the Lions. So if you're Detroit, you're looking at Chicago going, you know, if Green Bay could do what they normally do against the Bears, and then there's San Fran and us still on their schedule, they're looking pretty gaudy right now, but there could be some losses on that resume before we are done. We shall see.
I have to quickly go after's too strong, but I do want to reprimand one of our listeners this morning. And this is dangerous because this person is a very loyal listener, A. And B, it's one of our 6 female listeners.
Are you going after Paula?
You're damn right I am. You're damn right I am.
You're going after Detroit Paula?
I certainly am. Because it wasn't before the game that she said this. It was with 2 minutes or 3 minutes left in the game. Detroit scores to make it 44-30. And then Paula, who I said glowing things about yesterday, talked so nicely about her on the air. And then Paula sends out a tweet to whom? Our former producer and Lion Homer, Trent Bally. And not only does she send it to Trent, she all caps the damn thing.
Right.
I knew when Miller and Moulton both picked Dallas, we had this game. Funny, you didn't send that out at 8:15. You send it out a little closer to 11 p.m. Just saying. Love you, Paula, but come on now. If you're going to go out and be that way, you've got to do that before the game starts. That's all. It's all I'm saying.
It's probably the nicest form of trash talking that there is, right?
Right.
You wait until the post-game show is just about set up. They're promoting the post-game show, okay? And we'll have this Lions player and this Lions coach on afterwards, and then you go, I knew we had this sucker in the bag, Miller and Moulton, when you two agreed on this game. Which is funny, as I responded to Paula this morning. Paula, actually, one of the only times we've been right this year is when we've agreed on things.
So I thought it was uncalled for. The all caps was uncalled for, and the timing was uncalled for. That's all I'm saying. Love you, Paula. I do appreciate all of our listeners, but come on now. It was a little bit out of line. A little bit.
I'm happy for Paula because A, she cares a lot, and B, she woke up to 7 degrees this morning. Okay, so everything is relative. We got the game wrong, but we're in the 60s. She woke up this morning. Her team won. It's 7, and it could get colder.
Well, you know what? And my mom's on a trip up to Michigan for the week. She left yesterday.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, snap.
She ain't ready for this stuff.
That's
gonna be about a bottle and a half of wine a day from Mom.
Somebody reached out to me from the Red River Valley yesterday. 25 below wind chills. High today, I think, is going to be 3. So yes, it is winter throughout the northern part of this country. That is for sure. But big win for the Lions. They're still on the outside looking in. And next up for them is the Rams on the road, which is why last night was so imperative. But, Mark, I got to tell you, normally you go into an NFL season and you think, if we can get to 10, if we can get to 10, if we can get to 10, maybe the Cowboys, if they run the table, 10-6-1, may be good enough to win the East. But, Mark, I really don't know right now. If you're the Bears and you only get to 10, you think you're making the playoffs?
No.
If you're the Lions and you only get to 10, do you think you're making the playoffs?
No.
This could be one of those rare seasons, and I think the first one since we went to 17 games where you needed to get to 11. Although the wild cards last year in the NFC had pretty gaudy records. Remember, Minnesota was a 14-win wild card team, and Washington was a 12-win wild card team. But the Seahawks missed the playoffs with 10 wins. So it's still early in this 17-game season deal. We're still getting used to it. But we could have another year, Mark, where maybe the number in the NFC, unless you win your division with less, needs to be 11.
Yeah, the Cowboys, if they run the table, would 10-6-1 be enough? Look, it's possible that the Eagles could go 2-4 or 2-3 the rest of the way, but I just don't see it.
Well, you would think they have to lose Monday, right? I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan looking at this, you're like, man, I need Harbaugh, Herbert, and the Chargers to really come through for me Monday. I think I'm still in it if I can get an Eagles loss Monday. I don't feel very in it with a Philly win on Monday.
No doubt. And it is obviously college championship weekend, but it's a pretty special NFL weekend when you've got 3 big games: Colts, Jags, Steelers, Ravens, that we think's the best rivalry in football. And if it's not, the Packers and the Bears, with as much meaning as it's had in a long time. Lee Sterling makes his picks top of the 7 o'clock hour. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I couldn't help it, Paula. I couldn't help it. You got to know when you send a tweet like that at me at 11 o'clock at night, I get the last word. That's part of having your own show. And I think I was pretty nice. I've been tougher on a lot of others. That's for sure.
Well, that's a good thing, Paula. But yes, even Empire and the Phillies fans, they're worried. They're worried about their team, so they're very appreciative of your W last night.
11.
Look at you 2 weeks in a row.
Every conference champion. I told you I was picking every conference championship game.
I did too.
Every conference champion. I couldn't tell. I don't even know what Jacksonville State is called. I know Kennesaw State's the Owls, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's as much as I know. And I'm being perfectly about the Conference USA Championship. That's as much as I know. I also know it's the worst conference in college football. Even the MAC is considered better.
All right. I didn't pick the MAC. I didn't pick Conference USA. I picked 6 of them. I picked the big 6.
Oh, crap. No, I always do. I always put the NFL picks a certain way, and I scrolled down too far, and I didn't start at the top, and that bothered me.
All right.
Nothing to do with my picks. That's already done. That page is set.
Gotcha. No crossouts, no arrows. You're good.
Not a damn thing. I'm just ready. Let's do this. Whatever time you want to do it, I'm ready. 38 might be appropriate, though. I've got 11 games.
We'll wait till then.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
At 21 minutes past the hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday!
Which got underway yesterday with the NFL in Motown. Lions 44-30 over the Cowboys. Couple of conference championship games tonight. And then a whole bunch on Saturday. And then obviously we have a big NFL Sunday ahead of us as we head into this first weekend in December. Some hirings going on. Penn State maybe is in line to hire a coach. Maybe. Have to admit, I'm curious as to why it took them this long to get to Matt Campbell on the index card. I thought Matt might be a little higher based on all those they've reportedly reached out to. I thought they might have reached out to him before now, but okay. You know, the Iowa State head coach who was like the flavor du jour 2 and 3 years ago and now is not the flavor du jour, and it may be his time.
It might be. Unless John Deere ponies up to keep him in Ames.
There's been a lot of ponying up going on in the last week in college sports. By the way, you're Michigan State Spartans, if I read correctly. There's some company that's kicking in like $40 million today.
Good. They need it.
I think is it Acrisure or something? They're going to announce today the $40 million investment into the athletic department of Michigan State.
And I hope every dollar's going to the football team. Every single one.
Well, the hockey team doesn't need any money. The men's basketball team doesn't need any money. A lot of other sports there don't need the money. The one right now that needs the money is the football team. So a lot of ponying up, though, Mark, that is going on in and around college sports these days. Did you read that the buyouts are close to $400 million?
It's ridiculous. But, David, there's not enough money for the players.
No. We need to limit the amount of money that the players are making. Okay, there's not enough money to go around. Did I say the buyouts are like $358 million so far?
And by the way, what was it, that SCORE Act that was trying to run its way through Congress? I guess it got through the what committee in the House or the preliminary vote, but they decided not even to vote on it because it didn't have enough steam to keep going. So that's one. Two, the NCAA, I believe, talked about raising the amount of money you can pay your athletes by $2.5 million. And the Darren Heitners and the agents of the world that study this a lot more closely than I do just laughed, because the comment they made is these coaches are taking football jobs based on the amount of NIL money they're getting, and it far surpasses the money that's allowed. So we're still in the wild, wild west. And, and I'm on board with David, but I'll give David credit for being there first. You're now starting to see a lot more people talk about why these different bills aren't passing and what really has to happen. And you know what they're all coming to the conclusion of?
What's that, Mark?
You need to make these players employees.
What?
I know.
Wait, what?
What a brilliant idea. Wish I would have thought of that 2 years ago.
You mean to tell me you can't control the costs unless they're employees and you negotiate with them? Like professional sports. Hey, college football is trying to go about it basically like baseball. Now, the baseball players did unionize, but the baseball players are getting paid. They're getting paid. All right. Right now, college football players, they're getting paid. And what is it that we're hearing? We've got the haves and the have-nots, which is hysterical because, by the way, Mark, what have we always had in college football? Going back to the black and white era.
The haves and the have-nots.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll even look, why was Sparty good in the 60s? Because they were paying kids from the South to come play football in the North because they couldn't play for the teams in the South. But don't act like they weren't getting paid. I thought, when you say it's like baseball, you're right. The other thing that it kind of reminds me of more in the Wild Wild West is like the USFL, where, reckless league, certain teams went out and bought players for whatever it cost them to get.
Right. Yeah.
From a football standpoint. Right.
Right. Trump and the New Jersey Generals, they went out, they bought Flutie, bought Herschel Walker. Absolutely. Yeah. And doesn't guarantee success. I don't think the Generals ever won the title. All right. In the USFL, I think it was either Detroit or Philadelphia who won the titles, but
that's the Michigan Panthers.
I'm sorry, not the Detroit Panthers. It was the Michigan Panthers. Right. You guys don't really count that, though. You still count the last football championship in Detroit was the 57 Lions, right? I mean, nobody's quoting, was it the 83 Panthers? I think it was. You guys won the first one, right? That was 83.
It may have been 84, and the only reason I say it, and I told you this before, I was going to a Catholic high school. The 3 Catholic schools merged, and we ended up being the Panthers in a vote of the different names that they gave us.
Right.
Because of the success of the Michigan Panthers.
Gotcha.
And it was after my freshman year in high school. So it may have been 84, but
because I thought the 3 years were 83, 84, 85. They won the court case in the spring of 86, but lost it because they got $3. And I thought the league folded in the spring, summer of 86. But could be a year off. But anyway, there's a trip down memory lane. But with all the money that's out there, coaches retiring because they're fed up and they can't do this anymore. The ratings have never been better. And there is enough room now for not only Ohio State and Alabama to keep winning, but for Vanderbilt and Indiana to win. Mark, I don't know if you saw the post that Bud Elliott put out yesterday from 24/7 Sports, in which he said 10, 15 years ago, the difference between teams in the top 5 and the teams like 15th in the recruiting was X number of points. That point differential now covers twice as many teams. He said it is right there, black and white on paper. The talent is being spread out like never before in college football. Are the big boys going to get theirs? Damn right they are. But there is now talent that can be had by the second and potentially even third tier who can then move up.
The other thing that I did see yesterday, was the dominance of the SEC. Not talking about championships, because we know the Big Ten's won the last couple. The dominance of viewership. Did you see the article that had the ratings? And it didn't have this past weekend games because the article was done before the games came out. But the SEC seemingly wins every week and wins first. I mean, this is like the German bobsled team. They're getting gold, silver, and bronze every week.
Yep. And if it's not for games that Ohio State are in, okay, the Big Ten really suffers. You know, Indiana doesn't make the top 15 in viewership. Oregon barely makes the top 15 in viewership.
Now, they didn't have the Michigan-Ohio State game ratings yet, but the highest rated Big Ten game, not Big Ten versus somebody else, the highest rated Big Ten game was 12th this year. That's Oregon and Penn State. Now, Michigan and Ohio State and Texas was 1. Michigan, Oklahoma made the survey. And trust me, Michigan and Ohio State will make the survey when they get the number. But when you go through all the games, Big Ten games don't rate. They don't win the week because they're watching the SEC and they're watching it all day long. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Javier. Whew. I got to shave today. It's going to be painful, but I got to do it. Since my mom says I look like a homeless man. Thanks, Mom. Paulo, the Tampa Bay Bandits were good. Hemingway. I'm not quite Santa or Grizzly Adams yet. Right? Absolutely, Jake. Got to get ready. Yes, Empire absolutely is ridiculous.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till Lee Sterling will join us at the top of the hour from Paramount Sports. Just going to let you in on a little tease. His game of the week is the Big Ten title game. Huh? I like it. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Time now for the Starting Five, brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism. Thursday night football in Detroit, Lions over the Cowboys in a high-scoring affair, 44-30. Detroit's defense forced 3 turnovers and had 5 sacks. Jahmyr Gibbs with 3 rushing touchdowns. Montgomery was actually the leading rusher on the team, and he had a 35-yard touchdown run. CeeDee Lamb had a big night till he suffered a concussion. That'll bear watching. Cowboys don't play for 10 days when they host the Vikings. Detroit improved to 8-5 with the win. Cowboys fall to 6-1 with the loss. Next up for the Lions, in 10 days, they go to L.A. to play the Rams. Lots of other NFL news off the field. Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter out for Monday Night Football against the Chargers. Could be out longer. He had surgery on both his shoulders. And he said, I want to make sure I'm healthy for the playoffs. Well, there's still a lot of football to be played between now and the playoffs. Speaking of Monday night, Eagles, Chargers, Justin Herbert. The plan is, according to LA, for him to play, even though he has yet to practice. Speaking of practice, Lamar Jackson, limited on Wednesday, did not practice on Thursday for the Ravens. However, they say the expectation is he will play Sunday against the Steelers. The Ravens not hiding the fact that he's injured, though. His ankles are bothering him, and he may even have more than that. But he's expected to gut it out and be there Sunday for the showdown against the Steelers. Remember yesterday the news was the Bills picked up Darius Slay off waivers. Yeah, Slay, the 34-year-old who's had a nice career, letting the Bills know, yeah, I don't think I'm interested in playing with you. I may retire. Looks as if Slay had his heart set on clearing waivers and signing with the Eagles. But that's not going to happen unless the Bills decide to release him. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy clears concussion protocol. They say he's a go Sunday against the Commanders. Does that game, Mark, not show how volatile the NFL is? Minnesota won 14 games last year. Washington won 12 in the regular season and played in the NFC title game. Those two teams went 26-8 in the regular season.
Right, they might go 8-26 this year.
Right, combined they have what, 7 wins?
7 wins.
Yeah, remarkable. College football. You got 4 conference championship games tonight, baby. Starting at 7 o'clock on the 4-letter network, the Sun Belt Championship. Troy, a 23.5-point underdog at 25th ranked James Madison. 2 of Troy's 4 losses are to Clemson and Memphis. 7 o'clock ESPN. 7 o'clock CBS Sports Network, the Conference USA Championship. Kennesaw State, a 2.5-point favorite over Jacksonville State. American Championship. Winner is in the playoff. 8 o'clock tonight, ABC. 24th ranked North Texas on the road, a 2.5-point favorite at 20th ranked Tulane. I can't get out of my head, Mark, South Florida destroying North Texas by 30 during the regular season, yet that was their only loss of the year. Oh, by the way, Mountain West title game tonight, 8 o'clock on Big Fox. UNLV and Boise. The Broncos at home, a 4-point favorite. Lots of college football news off the field. Kansas State wasted no time. They replaced Chris Kleiman with A&M's offensive coordinator and former Wildcats standout quarterback Colin Klein. He's been calling the plays in College Station for the last 2 years. He will stay with them through the playoff, but then he'll be the head coach at K-State. Billy Napier, remember him?
Sure do, David.
A 5-year deal. He's the next head coach at James Madison because remember that guy's going to UCLA. The Gators, you know, Napier's former hangout. Their head coach, John Sumrall, has named Kentucky defensive coordinator Brad White as their DC, and he's going to hire Georgia Tech's Buster Faulkner away from the Ramblin' Wreck. So Sumrall not calling the plays. He's just the head coach. Brad White, defensive coordinator. Buster Faulkner, offensive coordinator. UAB promoted Alex Mortensen, who replaced Trent Dilfer as the interim head coach, won 2 games, one of them against Memphis, kept Memphis out of the title game. Mortensen promoted the 40-year-old son of the late Chris Mortensen. And Penn State and Iowa State. Well, Nittany Lions may be hiring Matt Campbell away from the Cyclones. Apparently they're talking and there's mutual interest. You would expect that. 10 games in the NHL last night. Moulton scored 2 goals, including the game winner with under 3 minutes to go. Pittsburgh 4-3 over the Lightning. Tampa Bay got screwed as badly as the NHL has ever stuck it to a team in a regular season game. You got 4 officials in the NHL. 4. All right? The Penguins are trying to clear the puck. The defenseman shot the puck right at the face of a Lightning player who, as you would expect, put his hand up to not get hit in the face by the puck. Okay? The puck hits his hand. Play continues. Eventually, Tampa Bay scores. None of the 4 officials on the ice called it a hand pass. It was a good goal. The league took it on its own to review, and they called it a hand pass and took the goal off the board. Ridiculous. Just watch the games from Toronto, okay? Try not to get involved. Panthers blew a 1-0 lead going to the third. Stamkos, the game winner in overtime. Nashville over Florida 2-1. Mark, do you know the Panthers are tied for the worst record in the Eastern Conference? The Florida Panthers. Now, it's early. They're still like 6 points out of the playoffs, but, I mean, they're like tied for last right now in the East.
Right, with Buffalo.
Correct. Right. Good to be compared to Buffalo in the NFL, not in the NHL. Rangers on the road, so you know they won. They beat Ottawa 4-2. Colorado suffered their second loss in regulation all year. They've played 27 games. Islanders doubled them up 6-3. Columbus 6-5 at a shootout over your Wings. Bruins 5-2 over the Blues. Toronto's won 3 in a row. They beat Carolina 5-1. Bedard scored a goal in his 3rd straight game. There are some great young players in the NHL. Not good. Not very good. There are some stars who are 22 and under in this
Right.
league.
I mean, the kid for the Islanders, that was the first pick there. He's sensational.
The kid in San Jose is a
Rainey is
sniper.
just
Right.
a star. I mean,
Yep.
an absolute star.
The next generation is here. Okay, they ain't coming. They here. Calgary 4-1 over Minnesota. Connor McDavid's been in a bit of a slump. He had a slump buster last night, a hat trick and an assist. Edmonton over Seattle, 9-4.
Funny, after spending a lot of years in hockey, you and I have different definitions of what a slump buster is.
Well, I'm not saying it's relegated only to the NHL. I mean, you know, a hockey player can have a slump buster on and off the ice, Mark. 5 games in the NBA. Lakers, Hockey Moore with a 3 at the buzzer to beat Toronto in Toronto, 123-120. Boston beat the Wizards in Washington by 45. 45. 146-101. Draymond Green got hurt. Steph wasn't playing. The Warriors trailed by 22 at the half. They had a 1-point lead late in Philly. And then the Sixers got a putback with under a second to go and won 99-98. Utah trailed by 9 going to the fourth quarter in Brooklyn. Ended up winning by 13, 123-110. And the New Orleans Pelicans are the worst team in the league. And they've traded away their first-round pick to Atlanta. They're 3-20. T-Wolves beat them 125-116. Giannis out 2 to 4 weeks with a right calf strain, so put the trade talks on hold. College hoop last night, not much going on. South Florida did knock off undefeated Utah State, 74-61. And as their new head coach said, we punked them from beginning to end. Okay. Doug Gottlieb's Green Bay team lost a heartbreaker. Last second shot beat them 80-78.
And boy, was he ticked. By the way, it was a 1.5-point spread for Robert Morris, but for Bob Moe there, they won.
Yep.
I mean, just
Right, exactly.
everybody, all of us keep gambling because we know more than they do.
Right. So Bob Moe wins by 2. Okay, Gottlieb keeps it together, shakes everybody's hand, makes a beeline across the court for the locker room, sees a chair.
And you can barely see this if you watch the video. I mean, he is,
Right.
I mean, you see the top of his head. And I'm not
Right.
even talking forehead. You can only see hair.
And then all of a sudden you see a chair go flying. And you're like, he's upset. Women's hoops, that whole SEC, ACC challenge works for them too. Second-ranked South Carolina survived at 22nd-ranked Louisville, 79-77. And give it up to Kim Mulkey's LSU team. They trailed Duke 14-1 to start the game, came back and won by 16. And day 4 of the NASCAR trial, the judge yelled at both sides and said, you guys keep repeating yourselves, okay? This thing's taking way too long. NASCAR said, hey, listen, Roger Penske's only available next Monday, okay? And the judge looked at him and said, well, that's tough. So this seems to be going well. By the way, the highlight of the day, Joe Gibbs' granddaughter sent an email or a letter to NASCAR a couple years ago pleading with them to make changes to the sport. NASCAR apparently mocked her. The letter was read in its entirety in open court yesterday. I so wish this was on Court TV. I really do. And the big boys are testifying next week. I mean, big boys. Childress, okay, you know, you name it.
Brad
Penske.
Childress is testifying?
Richard Childress.
Oh.
Finally, in baseball, the winter meetings are going on. Some stuff's getting done. Red Sox, remember, they acquired Sonny Gray a few days ago. They acquired another pitcher. They sent their top prospect, an outfielder, Jostin Nixon Garcia, to the Pirates in a 5-player deal. They get back righty Johan Oviedo, who has 2 years of control left for Boston. So there you have it. 5-player deal. Red Sox actually get 3 players in it, but their number 1 prospect they sent to Pittsburgh for Pittsburgh's what? Number 3 starter?
I love the deal for the Pirates.
I do too.
They're cheap and they get a prospect who's under their control for a while. I mean, it's a good move.
If he can deliver while Skeens is still there. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories. And can we move this damn trial along? Here on Miller and Moulton, the starting 5 brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community, Mark, through business, sports, and tourism.
And one of the things you didn't mention is one of the longest streaks in sports stopped last night. LeBron James had 8 points. He had a double-digit scoring games in his last 1,297 games. Lee Sterling next. Football season is back and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeister's backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, my thing. Oh, I got it. My mic. My mic. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay. I got a pretty good take I think you'll like on the college football selections show on last Tuesday. You want to hear a fun rant?
Let me guess, you're not happy with the Canes at 12?
No, but there was something else. I'll tell you about it.
All right.
So, how was Thanksgiving for you guys?
Great.
Yeah, we both had good holidays. How about you?
Great. Really good. Really
That's
nice. So
you went 5-0 in your NFL last week?
For your client.
For your clients?
No. For my on the 3-2 for my clients
Oh.
on Sunday. on the Sunday golden ticket. Take 3 and 2. Slow but steady. Some guy said to me, he sent me, he goes, I was hoping for better than 3 and 2. Of course, because I parlayed all of them, parlayed all 5. I said, and I was hoping for Christy Brinkley as a wife also.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. We're Lee Sterling.
Friday. Sorry.
That's okay.
I zoned out there.
We're Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741 joins us. My question for you, first off, Lee, great to talk to you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving with your family. Since November was Dovember,
right?
What is December?
Double down December.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we got jackpot.
Damn
Jackpot
right, Lee.
January.
I've been doubling down all month.
But before we get to the games, you said that you're very unhappy with the playoff committee and its rankings.
Well, I think that Miami and Notre Dame both deserve to be in, to be quite honest with you. Last year, I said nothing. I thought that Miami was not deserving. I thought their defense was horrific. Probably would have lost 55-35 in a first-round game. But this year, I do think they're playing really good football, and I think their resume is good enough to be in the playoff. What disturbed me was watching Hunter Yurachek, his explanation of why they moved Alabama up 1, saying that some members thought that it was a good Alabama win because some of his lines were they were up 17-0. They converted on a 4th and 2 and held on to beat what I'm telling you is a 5-7 Auburn team without a head coach and had a quarterback starting only second game at Auburn. I thought it was embarrassing. It was like watching a Miami politician who had been caught on tape, taking money, taking a bribe, and trying to explain it off as he wasn't guilty. So Hunter Yurachek, who I guess he's the fall guy for them. They're so in bed, the SEC and ESPN, that I hope Hunter Yurachek, who I think he probably got his 4th or 5th choice as head coach Ryan Silverfield, when he's fired in 2 years, Silverfield, I hope he goes with him.
All right, just quickly. You want to put them both in. Who you take? Because it's easy. They both should get in. Great. Who are you taking out?
Well, Alabama deserves to go out if they lose.
Oh,
by more than a touchdown.
Look at who they've beat. Look at and don't tell Miami.
I know you got that Crimson Tide banner right above you, but I'm telling you, if they lose this game bad,
I don't give a damn about Alabama.
I think they deserve
look
to
at
go
who
out.
they've played. Look at who they've beaten. That's wrong.
They've beaten some. Yeah, they also lost to Florida State.
Yet Miami lost to Louisville. I mean, come on,
and lost at home to Oklahoma. I'm just telling you. I think that Miami's resume is better. I think on a neutral field right now, Miami beats Alabama.
What do you think Vegas would say about that game? You do this for a living. Alabama would be
they'd probably have Bama 2.5.
Favorite.
I'm just telling you, they would have Alabama 2.5, and people would go with Alabama. David's winking at me.
No,
as you're saying this.
I'm loving this.
I'd take Miami over Notre Dame because they played head-to-head, but I don't think both deserve to go.
I do. So I don't think Oklahoma's good.
I don't either. They did beat Alabama on the road. It's one of the best wins in college football this year.
It was. I agree. So I'm just telling you the way I see it. And how about they punish Texas A&M? Texas A&M loses. They go down to 7. They'll probably have to play Notre Dame in a rematch game.
That's actually the injustice, and we got to get to the picks here, but that's the injustice that's not getting enough ink. Ole Miss ahead of A&M with Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin moves up. Okay, and the difference will be Ole Miss is going to have probably the champion of the American, as
Right.
their opponent in a home game, and
There you
A&M's
go.
going to get Notre Dame or Bama, somebody
And
like that.
maybe A&M might have to play Georgia in the second game if they win. So, hey, if you want to make that argument that Alabama deserves to go up, Miami beat Pittsburgh so bad, Pittsburgh may not even be able to hold a spring practice.
All right.
Let's start measuring our games against Pitt of how we decide things. All right,
They're ranked.
let's do what you do. Pick games. Georgia's
All right.
a 2.5 point against Alabama. Georgia never beats Alabama. Who
I
are you
know.
taking?
Taking Georgia. Basically a home game here at the Mercedes Dome. I think Georgia last week didn't show anything. They wanted to be vanilla, not have injuries, come out with a victory. Alabama only 2 touchdowns against LSU a couple weeks ago, outgained by 131 yards last week. Georgia big, 35-20, and Tuesday night is going to be havoc.
Well, remember, they do it Sunday at noon.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Okay,
You're
yeah,
right.
they do it before
Sunday.
the NFL kicks off.
Yeah.
The rest of your picks are all NFL before your game of the week. Packers, Bears, red-hot Bears, and they're getting 6.5 at Lambeau.
I love what Ben Johnson does. Not that he doesn't call great plays. He does. He also has been able to train Caleb Williams. I think it's like, hey, find your first read. That's not there. Go to your second read. That's not there. Get rid of the ball or take a sack. And let's win the time of possession and not turn the ball over more than our opponent. And we're going to win a lot of games. They do that really well. And the Packers 1-6 against the spread, laying more than 3 points. Upset here. Wrong team favored.
Whoa!
Bears 26-23.
Boy, he's just looking at history and spitting in its face because we all know how the Packers do against the Bears, and we all know how Alabama does against Georgia in Atlanta, and Lee going the other way twice. Dolphins, they are now a 3-point favorite at the Jets. How do you see it, Lee?
Wow. Watching that Dolphins and Saints game last week was painful. I think I'm going to take a sedative. Just kidding. Before this game here, it's going to be that bad. Watching Tua right now is just horrific. He gets rid of the ball just way too quick, not reading the field here. Justin Fields had his best game of the year, and their first meeting still wasn't enough. Kind of similar to last week. Miami's going to win this game 22-17, and good seats available. I saw they can get seats for like $16 in MetLife.
All right. Colts, despite losing 2 in a row, a 1.5 point favorite at the 3 wins in a row Jags.
Yep. So I love Indy here and think that Indy is going to break that 10-year streak here. Jags are down 1 starting offensive lineman and 3 others may or may not play. I just think that Indy's more explosive on offense, better defensively. Give me the Colts to finally break through 27-20.
And what Lee means is that the Jags have beaten the Colts, 9 straight times in Jacksonville?
And we'll see how it works out on Sunday. Battle for first place.
Last game I'm going to go with is going to be, I'm going to take a look at the Bucks here. Bucks, I just think with Bucky Irvin back, better
Keep going,
team.
Lee. Keep going, Lee. I don't think you can hear us, but keep going.
Yeah. I just think that the Bucks are the better team with Bucky Irving here. Saints just trying out different things, and they're blitzing now a little too much. Might cost them here. Baker might make them pay. Give me the Bucks here. I think they win and cover here, 27-17.
And your game of the week, Ohio State, Indiana, the Big Ten Championship. How do they get it, Lee?
Just call 800-400-9741. Give them Ohio State and Indiana on me. I love one side here. We won 9 of the last 11 weeks for our clients. We won last night with Detroit every single day, Thanksgiving weekend. And we call it Double Down December. Championship week this weekend. You're going to get 2 rounds of the college football playoffs. You're going to get over 30 bowls in December. NFL, you're going to get 5 selections every single Sunday for the month of December, where we're on a 37-17-1 run. Normally $497. Use coupon code SAVE100, just $397 one place, ParamountSports.com. And we're going to take off next week. There's just the NFL. And we'll come back in 2 weeks, do the college football playoff and bowl extravaganza.
He's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. He's laying points with the Dogs, the Dolphins, the Colts, and the Bucks. He's taken the points with the Bears, and his game of the week is the Big Ten title game, Ohio State and Indiana. Lee, as always, thanks. Enjoy your weekend.
You too, if Miami makes the playoffs.
Well, then you're going to have a bad weekend, my friend. Lee Sterling joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Hey, I'm telling you, Miami to me still has a shot. And we talked about this with Bud. If BYU loses, and let's just say Texas Tech covers the spread, and now Notre Dame's one spot ahead of Miami, they're not in the same tier anymore. I mean, they weren't in the same tier before. They're 10 and 11. They're not in the same tier. Explain that to me. Vanderbilt's behind who? Texas. Why? Head-to-head. Matters there? Doesn't. I'm telling you. I think it's less than a 20% chance, but I don't think it's impossible.
Really?
Yeah. Based on what they said, and I know they're liars. I mean, I get it. But based on the whole what tier well, they're not even in the same tier. When asked, Miami's not in the same tier as Notre Dame. If one is ranked 10th and one is ranked 11th, how are they not in the same tier?
But how do you rank Notre Dame ahead of Miami every step of the way? And then when neither of them are playing, you vault Miami over Notre Dame? What has Miami done?
They make the rules up as they go along.
Do you think okay, I could go along with you if the school was not named Notre Dame.
I understand, and that's why I said it's less than 20%. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just telling you, don't be shocked if it does. And your reasoning is the number one theory as to why I say it's more than 80%, because it's Notre Dame.
Okay, I think one other thing has to happen too. I think Duke has to win. I think the ACC has to have no representation for the committee to then look at one another and go, do we have to get the ACC in this game, in this tournament? Are we really going to put the Sun Belt in and not the ACC?
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
That if Virginia wins, I think Miami's out because the ACC will be represented and they'll go, well, they shouldn't get two. But if Duke wins, then I think you might be onto something. Because you're right, Mark. It's not like they're making it up as they go along.
Miller and Moulton. Lee Sterling, like all of our guests, joining us on the American Paint Supply Hotline. American Paint Supply, your one source for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
If we want to let someone pine for their team, maybe we'll get Michael on and let him talk about the Broncos, for crying out loud. What's next? Herb Street's dog? So Ryan or Manny is the guy's name. I just happened to open up Facebook on social. And Ryan or Manny's on Fox in Detroit, and he's now on JR in the afternoons. And he said, I know I'll probably get skewered for saying this, but I think it's completely ridiculous that Kirk Herbstreit gets to walk around the field with his dog in warm-ups before a game. Maybe I'm a bad person. He gets eviscerated in the comments. I love him. He's now my favorite because you can't say you and I and John, I guess, and Ryan or Meany are the only four people in the media world that have realized this is a prop.
Yep. Do you want to do a poll question, number one?
Yes, I do.
And do you have anything in mind? Because the only thing I have in mind is how much of a shot are people giving Indiana? Like, would you take Indiana in the points? You know, I mean, Georgia, Alabama's what, 2.5? Ohio State, Indiana is 4.5. I mean, I don't know how much interest there is in any of the other games.
No, I thought we could put up both games with the spread, and SEC and Big Ten. Who you got? But I've got no problem with that. Or just putting the Indiana game up there.
Yeah, just whichever one, you want to do both, do both. That's fine.
I did see a New York Post article that women's farts smell more than men. Do you find that to be true?
Huh.
David treated me like you guys all treated Michael when he came in with all his enthusiasm and talked about, wait for it, the Broncos.
Michael was talking about the Broncos?
Yes. I mean, we could be talking about a nuclear holocaust on air, and he would come in and go, hey, the Broncos beat the Saints.
He'd come in and go, so after the nuclear holocaust, how do you think Bo Nix looked? Michael's like, I don't care. The Avs have lost twice, and so have the Broncos. I'm fine.
Yeah, we Paula, no offense, we all know what the damn dog's name is. He mourned the other dog for an hour and a half. Fam, here's the thing. While I think that's a very accurate statement, I just don't know of the women in my life ever doing that anywhere near me to find
I
out.
know. They're usually horrified.
I mean, they hide. I don't even
they
know.
go they go leave the room. They basically go to the bathroom just to pass gas.
And when you lost Toby, did you replace Toby the next day? Just curious, asking for a friend.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton will make their picks against the number next segment. Because we both have, a few picks. Mark went with the Elite 11 last week, had a big-time winning week. I have a feeling he's going back down that same road.
Got it. David, I'm 7 games below 500 right now. I have got to make a run here.
So, we've got 40-something bowl games.
I'm picking all of those, too. And if we don't have time on the show, I'll have my first solo podcast where I will just be picking bowl games.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
So we don't have a poll question. I think we should. And I do think we should take the leap, Mark, and actually stick to sports. I know it's foolish, but I think we should give it a try. We gauged yesterday how much interest there were in these conference championship games, and we were told emphatically that there was a lot of interest.
Yes.
And so in that case, I say, fine. Then who do you like?
We watch as much as we can, David. That was the answer yesterday.
Right.
Over half of our audience watching as much as they can of Conference Saturday. And I now officially am right there with all of you. Because, A, my wife has to work tomorrow. So it's me and the daughter. So I thought I'd be doing things with the daughter. And I found out yesterday that one of the gymnastics moms got in touch with my wife, and she's got to go somewhere. And can the daughter come over to our house?
Oh,
And
yes.
and she's going to the other coast. So I've got her kid from 10:30 to 6. So that means I won't see either of them all day.
Oh,
So
my
this is
goodness.
I'm telling my daughter right now, you can make pizza. You know how to make the pizza rolls in the air fryer. That's lunch. Don't bother me.
Wow. It's going to be a hell of a Saturday for you.
I am wife's working.
Man.
Daughter's got a friend over. I'm not going to be bothered by anybody all day.
I mean, unless there's a fire, you're going to get in the noon games, the 3:30, 4 o'clock games. Maybe the night games will have to stop for a moment in time, but that's about it.
Need a blowout somewhere so I can sneak in about a 45-minute nap to make it to the end of the Big Ten game. Because, David, you have the ability, more so than I do, with the day off to sleep in. You can still sleep in a little bit. I cannot. We get up 4:30 for the show. If I make it till 6:30 on a weekend, I'm really happy. So football and a nap tomorrow with no women to bother me. Oh, my goodness, is this great.
Bama, Georgia, 2.5, I think is the number we're going to agree on. And Ohio State, Indiana, what do you got, 4?
I believe it is still at 4. Let me double check here of what we go with in this game, and because the lines fluctuate. 4.5 right now.
Okay, so we're going with 4.5. All right, and I just say we ask folks, who do you like? Who do you like? Ohio State or Indiana? Laying the 4.5, taking the 4.5? Bama, Georgia. A rematch in the SEC title game from a regular season meeting that Bama won by 3. First time Ohio State and Indiana playing this year, obviously, since both teams are undefeated. The last two undefeateds.
So the Ohio State-Indiana question is up. As soon as I type the Georgia-Alabama question, that will be up as well. For the record, we knew it going in, but chocolate chip dominated the cookie question, 64%. And far fewer of you dunk your cookies. You're in my camp. I'm not a dunker, unless it's about an 8-foot rim. And then I have a chance.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not a dunker either. Tried it when I was little, didn't really like it. I think the only competition for chocolate chip cookie was if we had thrown Oreo in there.
yes. And I do think there are many people who said they dunk in Oreo. And Oreo is a dunkable cookie because it's very hard. Anything else gets too damn soggy.
How much of a shot you give Indiana?
I give them a shot. I have trouble seeing them score a lot of points, and ultimately the Buckeyes receivers will get open and score. So I like Ohio State in the game. I really do.
Okay.
Maybe it's just pedigree. Hey, it would be amazing for Indiana if they won. I don't want to say meaningless for the Buckeyes, but okay, a Big Ten championship. I mean, you've won a natty and you've beat Michigan here. Where, if you were to rank them, I think the Michigan win slightly above the natty from last year.
It's close. Even a diehard Buckeye fan will tell you that. It's close.
Buckeye fans out there, and there are bunches of you. 21,000 Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. What win is bigger? Last year's natty, this year beating Michigan? I'm very curious.
Don't be surprised, folks, who don't have a rooting interest in this game, when the Michigan regular season win wins the informal survey over the national championship. We'll see. I have to believe that, for all the obvious reasons, don't you think the game has to mean more to Indiana? Now, that doesn't mean that they'll play well. The game may mean too much to them. They may play nervously, badly on the big stage. You know, they didn't handle the two big stages last year very well. They handled some of the bigger stages this year very well, because most of their big stages were on the road. Okay, tie game, fourth quarter at Iowa. They made the play to win. All right, tie game after throwing a pick six early fourth quarter in Eugene. Place is going crazy. 12 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, IU wins. So they've been in tight games, in tough places, and they've handled it. Ohio State, have they been in a game this year in which you thought at any point in the fourth quarter they might lose? I mean, they were up 14-0 on Texas till mid-fourth quarter. I mean, has there been a time this year in which an Ohio State opponent put them in a position in which you went, are they in trouble?
No. And you're right. You know, Indiana had that with Oregon. Indiana had that with Iowa. Indiana's played those games. Will it be that kind of game, though?
At Penn State, obviously trailing, entering the final drive. So Indiana has handled a pressure spot this year much better than they handled their big pressure spots last year.
By the way, and I know you don't care about this as much as you once did, but let's just say this game is played at a very low scoring pace, that 2014, so, you know, something like that, whatever, 2017, make it close. I don't give a damn. But neither team gets more than 24. Is the consolation prize for Vandy Pavia getting the Heisman then, if neither quarterback shines in this game tomorrow?
Could be. I mean, listen, he's the most valuable player in college football this year, isn't he? I mean, if this were the American League MVP, I mean, come on. Vanderbilt never had a 10-win season before. Why do you think they went 10-2? Who's more responsible for their success? Seriously, name one individual player more responsible for his team's success this year. I think more than Mendoza. I think more than Sayin.
Oh, certainly more than saying, because that defense is elite. Mendoza's close. I mean,
Okay.
they're not with that Penn State game. I don't know if they're in this position, but I think you're right. He's the most valuable player, Miller and Moulton. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say Dion made a very interesting hire yesterday. He hired the guy who's running the offense at Sacramento State, who, bought into they were going to become FBS and what have you, and be big time. And when that's not happening, he's considered an up-and-comer and runs a very high-scoring offense. And Dion hired him yesterday at Colorado. Make up for the fact that his recruiting class was ranked 104th.
Look at politicians, whatever side you're on, can all be morons, but this is funny. Michael Baumgartner, who is the rep from Washington State,
Yep,
on Petiti. If the commissioner of the Big Ten would spend less money trying to buy votes with DC lobbyists and make more of an effort to stop being a bullying jackass, then Congress could get on with passing some reasonable legislation to fix college sports. I don't know anything about Michael Baumgartner. I don't. I'm not trying to play that I know politics, and I'm not trying to make this show political. We never do. But funny's funny. And I thought the SCORE Act was a joke, so.
it is a joke. It's not enforceable.
Right. And David, I don't know if you said a 40 million from that Arca shirt. It's a 400 million.
Gotcha.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kirwan joins us to talk all things NFL. Get his reaction to the Lions' big win last night. Keeps them very much alive in the Central or the North or the Black and Blue division or whatever we're calling it. But it keeps them alive also for a wild card, at least for now. 9 days from now, they go to the Rams. That's a tough ask, but hey.
But it's why they needed to beat the Cowboys, because they can lose to the Rams and still get to a number that may mean the playoffs if they beat the Bears the final week of the season.
Right.
They had to get last night.
Yes.
Funny, the two teams that could play a lot with the Bears, obviously San Francisco and the Bears play one another, but the team I'm looking, the Colts play a bunch of the NFC West teams. They've got Seattle and I think the Niners left on their schedule. So it is fascinating how this is, the Colts, who are seemingly falling apart right now. Jones a little banged up. Sauce Gardner out. So, it'll be fascinating just to see how not only that division plays out, but what the Colts have to say about the wild card in the NFC, believe it or not.
So Pat Kirwan in 20 minutes' time. Miller and Moulton don't always pick the same games. In fact, most times we don't. I have a feeling since, there's not a lot of college games to choose from.
I picked them all.
Oh, okay.
Every damn one of them. Okay. Every conference championship game is on my list.
I think I left a couple out, but I'm not sure. So, listen, you went 7-4 last week. Okay. I'm just curious how many NFL games you're going to pick, because you may have more than enough college games to just post that.
Well, there were 9 championship games. I've picked them all. And I threw a couple of pro games in there for good measure. Let's start with the Owls and the Gamecocks. No, that's not Temple in South Carolina. That's Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State, Conference USA. It's tonight. I'm taking Kennesaw State, and here's why. They used to be in the A-Sun, and I paid a little bit of attention to them then. They've spent money on their athletics, and I just know more about Kennesaw State than Jacksonville State because I forgot what Jacksonville State's nickname was until I looked it up this morning. Your point on Troy and their losses is relevant, and Troy has scored a bunch of points in a bunch of games. But they've also been whooped against some good teams. I think JMU has to blow out Troy if Duke were to win and JMU gets the spot. It's imperative that JMU wins and wins big. I think they will. Give me JMU minus 23.5. I'm taking the Mighty Mullins. UNLV's getting 5.5 against Boise. Boise's been up and down all year long. I'm going to take Dan Mullen and UNLV plus the 5.5.
Really? You got 5.5? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Just that's the biggest line. That's the biggest line I've seen. That's all. But okay.
I mean, let me double check. Yeah, 5.5 is what I've got it at right now. It's 8:00 tonight, Mountain West Championship. And like you, David, North Texas gave up 63 to South Florida.
Right.
63.
I can't get it out of my head.
And they're favored against Tulane. Obviously, we know some are all staying for the game, and that's important. A winner goes to the playoff. I can't help it. I'm taking Tulane, and I'll take the 2.5. All right, tomorrow in a game that everybody cares about, Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan. I had a couple friends play for Western Michigan. I don't know anybody that played for Miami of Ohio. Sure, it's 40 years ago, but give me the Broncos minus 1.5. All right, the games you guys care about. Texas Tech is solid. When they whooped Utah up front and just physically pounded them, I went, wow, this is different. And from that point on, I've been supporting Texas Tech. They're one of the best teams against the number all year long. They will be again. BYU doesn't get to spoil it for Notre Dame or Miami. Give me Texas Tech laying the 12.5. David, when Alabama plays Georgia in Atlanta, more times than not, Alabama wins. I like Georgia. I think if Gunnar Stockton would have had a better game against Georgia Tech, he might have got himself to New York. And if he has an amazing game against Alabama on Saturday, he still may get to New York. He's not going to win it. It's not what I'm saying. But until proven otherwise, this is Kirby's bugaboo, whether it's DeBoer or whether it's Nick. I'll take Bama plus 2.5. I've said it all week. I like the Buckeyes. I know it means more to Indiana. I think Indiana's done an excellent job. There's no coach that's done a better job than Kurt Signetti. What he has pulled off at Indiana, it's a miracle. It is. This is 1980 in the Olympics, for crying out loud. Indiana's playing for a Big Ten title. Do you believe in miracles? No. I'll take the Buckeyes and lay the 4.5. And maybe this is just a rooting interest, but damn it, go Blue Devils. I'm taking Duke in 4.5 because I want to see what the committee does if Duke wins the game. I want JMU to win big. I want Duke to win big. And I want to see what the committee tells us on Sunday. Give me Duke in 4.5. 2 pro games. Taking the points in both. I'm taking the Jets against Miami. This is what Miami does. They fool you. They make you think that they're playing really good. But who was it against? A bunch of lousy teams. And the Jets get payback. It's at home. It's going to be cold. I'll take the Jets plus 3. And maybe JP talked me into it yesterday when he talked about some of the injuries with the Colts and how it's going to affect them. I'm taking JP's word for it. Give me the Jags plus 1.5 in the battle for first place in the AFC South. That's 11, David.
Second week in a row. You went 7-4 last year.
Take that, Moulton.
9 college and 2 NFL. All right. Obviously, we're picking many of the same games. We differ on quite a few. I'm going to take the points with Troy, quite frankly.
Well, you
All
should.
right.
He pays your salary for crying out loud.
I'm going to take
Talk to him about those yellow rimmed, those yellow lenses that he wears on TV during the day. I'm not sure about those. I think they're the computer reading glasses. He's a good looking dude. I don't think the yellow lenses do much for him.
I agree. I agree on that. I'll tell him when I see him Monday in LA. I'll say, listen, my co-host thinks that these glasses are stupid.
He's a good-looking guy. I don't think they make him look better. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm not going to try to dampen it down. I'm just going to flat out say my co-host thinks your glasses look stupid. Okay. By the way, will you come on with us?
Video his response and send that to me.
I'm going to take the 23.5 and Troy. I think James Madison feels some pressure in this game. I think they win, but they don't cover. You and I are in agreement. We'll take Tulane at home against North Texas. How often do you see the home team in a conference title game be the underdog? Okay, and they're the higher ranked team, correct?
Yes.
Tulane's 20, North Texas 24. Yeah.
And you and I can't get over what South Florida did to them. That's really what this boils down.
No, and not only that, they spotted
21.
Right. And then beat them like 63-32. It was unreal. It's very disappointing that both Miami and South Florida are not in their respective championship games. It really is. I'm going to take the points with BYU. When they played at Texas Tech, they turned it over 3 times, yet they still held Texas Tech under 30. Texas Tech has scored more than 40 in most every team they played this year. I think BYU, fired up with Satake staying, keeps it very competitive. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the points with the Hoosiers. I think they have a real shot. And Mark, you hit on it. I think the game's going to be low scoring. Like, I think under 40. Now, you're right. The fear is Ohio State's got guys who, boom, that can take a punt back, a kick back. Okay, all of a sudden, wide receiver, and you can't cover him. Why? Well, because he's an NFL player and you're not. There's no doubt about that. But I think people are going to be surprised at how competitive at the line of scrimmage Indiana is on both sides of the ball. In fact, I think Indiana's defensive front and linebackers will get more pressure on Sayin than the Buckeyes are going to get on the Indiana quarterback. I think they got a real shot. I won't call for the win, but I am definitely going to take the 4.5. Alabama got outplayed the whole second half by Auburn. They needed the officials' help to win. Okay, their offense is not the same in the last month. And Mark, I do agree. Georgia half mailed that in against Georgia Tech. 270 yards of offense, got an early touchdown, and basically ran out the clock. I like the dogs, and I'll lay the 2.5 against the Tide. You took Duke. I am definitely rooting for Duke. I mean, rooting in such a big way for Duke. I just want to see if the committee's going to choose between James Madison and Duke, but I also want to see whether or not, if Duke wins, does the committee feel they have to put an ACC team in, and do they leapfrog Notre Dame? And I just want to see the explanation. But I like Virginia to win, and I'll lay the 4. And I'm taking Boise State at home, laying the 4.5 against UNLV. I've got 4.5. You got 5.5. I'll even go with your number. Tough to bet against the Broncos at home in a big spot. And Dan Mullen's team's had a great year, not necessarily on the road. I'm only picking one NFL game, Monday night. I think the Eagles are collapsing. I think we got big issues going on in Philadelphia. Big. And I don't see how life's going to get better for them with no Jalen Carter. Give me the Chargers in 2.5 at home against Philly. So I don't know what that adds up to. I think it adds up to 8.
It does, and I have never felt better about my picks. While I'm 34-41 on the season, David is 42-65.
Thank you.
42-65.
Correct.
And we differ on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks. I figure I should go 5-1 in those.
It's not necessarily true. It's not always the case in the NFL, although you did get me on 3 of the 4 we disagreed on last week.
No, I know, but I'm just talking about, 42-65.
Oh, yeah. Listen,
that's all I'm talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, this could be the first time in the history of anyone picking games against the number on a radio show that he'll have to win every bowl game in order to be above 500. I mean, I'm getting dangerously close to that. I mean, think about it. I could go 30-10 on the first 40 bowl games and still be below 500.
So there are our picks against the number. Take them for what they're worth.
Meanwhile, Ryan is terrified. The only game we agreed on of the 6 was Tulane.
We've not been bad this year when we've agreed, guys. We really have.
No, we haven't. We haven't. Although
I will say, I asked the audience last segment, David, what's more important, beating Michigan or winning the Natty for Ohio State? The first 2 texts that came in, and a bunch of people responded, and most say the Natty. But the first 2 texts that came in, Natty, not close. Next text, beating Michigan.
Let's face it. I think the Ohio State fan was somewhat pleased with how last season ended, but man, the stank from that Michigan game, come on. We've seen Ohio State celebrate national championships before. Did they celebrate the 2024 one the way they celebrated in 2002 and 2014? No, they did not. They did not. They were happy. They were proud. Okay. But they didn't celebrate it the way they celebrated it under Tressel and Urban.
Everything he speaks is the truth. Every single word. But we have an exceptional NFL Sunday. Pat Kirwan's going to be fired up for a couple of reasons. There are rivalry games that have a ton of meaning. And there are 1:00 games that have a ton of meaning.
Right.
Including the Steelers and Ravens for first place in the AFC North. The Colts and the Jags for first place in the South, and the Bears and the Packers. We'll talk to Pat about it next. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, Pat.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Well, you rubbing a lot of salt in Dave's prediction wing.
I know it could go very south on me for that.
Yep, but since you're on top like that, you might as well take the shot.
It's funny picking NFL games head to head this year. We have been back and forth all year. I think he got me last week. I think I'm -3 on the year now. It's been hysterical.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah, David's +1, not +3, I guess.
Right, I'm +1.
You're +1.
That battle continues now that college is fizzling out here. Well, not really. You guys still have all kinds of nonsense going on with that. But I love all the big games you guys talked about. And I can tell you right now, in those 6 games, I'm taking the home team in every one of them.
Ah, okay. Just let me answer somebody. Minty Stube, no, I didn't go to Jacksonville. My daughter went to UNF. I broadcast their games the last 2 years on the radio, their road games. So I have some JU shirts. So I'm just wearing one.
I thought Dallas was going to win last night because of Detroit's defense, and
yep,
well, Detroit needed to score 44. I mean, you get 3 turnovers and 5 sacks and give up 30.
Yeah, we've been talking about getting a guy opposite Hutchinson because it's too easy now to block him up. But that Mohammed kid, he only played 38 plays, and go look at his production for 38 plays.
Wow.
Yeah, they keep thinking Davenport got like 37 plays. They would just switch him back and forth. Davenport, to me, is just a guy. Mohammed, there's something to him.
Well, Davenport was all potential coming out of, where was it? Boise, UTSA? Where did he come out of?
I think it was at San Antonio. I think it was.
And he was taken, like 23rd overall, and it was a reach. And he's been all potential from day one.
Yep.
Not production, potential.
Yeah. And we're past potential at his age.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the other kid, man, he takes advantage of the protection going to Hutchinson, and he's good. I think did he have 3 sacks?
Huh. I'm trying to think, was it?
I'll look it up.
3.
Yeah, he was out there doing his thing, but I know he only played 38 plays.
which is probably why he was so productive.
Yeah. And really, that's the formula for Chris Jones starting next year, really starting tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah, he had 3 sacks.
3 sacks and 38 plays. And what else? Couple tackles for a loss. He seemed like he was in a backfield the whole time.
Yeah, 4 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for losses.
Jesus.
Yeah.
38 plays.
Marcus Davenport, 1 tackle, 1 quarterback hit.
Yeah, they split the reps right down the middle.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
At least in the 904, the 239, and Tampa St. Pete. Final hour of the show, live Oak Lake City, surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Vote in our poll question. Who do you like? Bama, Georgia with the spread, Ohio State, Indiana with the spread. Vote accordingly. Pat Kirwan joining us once again. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7, Saturdays 2 to 5. Sundays, he's with CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Go to pinchersusa.com and get your gift cards now. Pat, what'd you think of the Lions win over the Cowboys last night?
Dan Campbell did not go for it on 4th down once.
No, he didn't.
Someone got to him. Danny?
Well, what was he, 0 for his last 7 or 0 for his last 9 going for it, right?
I think it was 7, but
Yeah.
7 or 9, we know the point, but there were so many people interested in and Jim said, I think he's going to have to go for it on every 4th down. I think he's trying not to do that. Anyway, he didn't do it. It was a good game. Lots of offense, but we were talking off the air there. That kid, Muhammad, I don't know that we don't even know him as a household name, but he plays opposite Hutch. He played 38 plays, and he was in the backfield literally the whole time he was on the field. So maybe they've got a budding star over there because I know it's not Davenport. Yeah, I liked it. I think there's a lesson about, they still may not make the playoffs.
Right.
Tell me the wild card that's going to get bumped out.
I think it's Green Bay. I think it's Chicago if they lose this week. If I'm Detroit, I'm rooting for the Packers so that hopefully I can be playing Chicago week 17 for a playoff spot, or week 18, rather.
Yep, the last game of the year. Yep, and that'll be, as David called it, Sunday night game. That'll be the last one. Yeah, well, it was to Detroit when they've got their – now think about all the injuries. We were on with Ross Tucker, who was doing the game for radio, and we just got into all the injuries. And it was a pleasant surprise that St. Brown was able to go, and he functioned well. But the tight ends, they didn't have either tight end. They had injuries in the secondary. They've been beat up in the offensive line, yet everyone on the line played the whole game. So they kind of got through this. It's a credit to who Dan Campbell is and how he operates. It's easy to criticize him with the 4th down stuff, but he is a leader of men, and those guys believe in following him. And there's no flinching when it comes to that. And I do think there's some teams that, and I think David's ready to talk about the Eagles. I just wonder what's going on there. But I will not be taking them against the Chargers on Monday night.
I also think it's funny. The Cowboys, at least before and after the game, verbally kind of made it sound like they didn't have to win this game. Even after the game, they're like, no, we'll be okay. Meanwhile, Detroit, I think, looked at the standings and did the same math that we did. And they're like, yeah, if we don't win this game, we're done.
Yeah, playing with their backs to the wall. Now, we got a bunch of teams that are in that category, if they're smart enough to be realistic. Pittsburgh and Baltimore are like that. You could make the case that Houston's like that. Talked to their head coach yesterday. Kansas City's exactly like that. And because of that, even Chargers. So there's a lot of teams in those games that we all like so much. Or if they're looking at the way the world turns here, they're thinking, if I don't win now, it's over. And it's kind of fun.
I look at the Eagles, and I agree with what you guys are talking about. I mean, they seem to be broken. But I also know they're going to host the Raiders. They're going to host the Commanders, and they play Washington twice. David brought this up yesterday. I don't know if you brought it up with David Chow, Dr. Chow, that you have on every week. Where's Daniels at as far as coming back, and how much of an impact could that have on the Eagles winning the division, Pat?
Yeah, well, I think we'll see Daniels this week. And I do think that that's a problem for Philadelphia if they're not on their A game, because I know Dan Quinn has convinced his team, let's be the spoilers. If we can't go, neither can they. So there's no motivation required to deal with the Eagles. He'll have his team up and roaring. They'll play as hard as they possibly can, and I think they have a chance to split with Philadelphia. You're right about those easy games they have. But I think even if they make it, I think our conversation about what's wrong with Philly will continue.
That's on Monday night, but it's a biggie for both teams, the Eagles at the Chargers. It's the first of two meetings, Pat. Steelers and Ravens, both 6-6. This meeting is in Baltimore. Lamar's not 100%. Aaron Rodgers is not 100%. Lamar's hardly practiced this week. The Steelers and the Ravens, arguably the best rivalry in the league.
Yeah. I'm banking on 25 touches for Derrick Henry. If every film study is you should run on the Steelers. And I think Derrick Henry, and if the head coach did one thing this week, he told Todd Monken, run the ball and not 11 carries. This is a time with the wounded quarterback that you absolutely have to lean on Derrick Henry. And I expect that to be the reason Baltimore at home will win this one.
All right. Who's the better quarterback for Pittsburgh? You know, with Aaron Rodgers' wrist and everything, and the broken bones there and the cast and all that, if you were Mike Tomlin, who would you start at quarterback? And I know you probably have to start Aaron, but who gives them the best chance to win this week?
Well, I think that question was a viable question 2 weeks ago when they had to play Mason. And I don't think Mason distinguished himself to the point of thinking there's a debate here. I think that when that game ended, they're going, yeah, it's really Rodgers gives us the best chance. Then they had to see him play with a cast. Then we saw him go to the ground while being sacked with the ball in his right hand and not wanting to brace himself with his left hand. And then all of a sudden the ball's out on the ground. Yeah, I think there's some problems there. If I felt good about the backup, I actually feel good about guys like Mariota. I don't feel that way about Mason Rudolph. I think he keeps proving, and there's always this excitement about him in Pittsburgh. There wasn't any in Tennessee. I still think it's got to be Rodgers who's been in a lot of big games and would understand what to do. I loved his comment about checking to a play and the guy that had to run the right route wasn't even at the film session. And that got somebody's attention in the building for sure.
What did we miss on with the Steelers? Even if they win this game, even if they win this division, Pat, we didn't think the defense was going to get old this season, and it has. And once you're old in this league, you can't fix it till next year.
Yes, and sometimes you can't fix it next year if strapped in the cap. You know, there's things that can prevent real aggressive behavior there. So let's just use TJ Watt. Love the guy, but whether he's injured, like when he was injured last year, they couldn't win. I watched him the other day because I'm fascinated by who he should be. And he was going against a kid who never, ever played right tackle in the National Football League, and he couldn't beat him. That's all I had to see to know he's part of the old and not getting better, which is sad to say.
Definitely is. All right. First of two meetings between these teams. Sure, it's not Baltimore and Pittsburgh, but it's for first place in the division. And hell, they both have better records than Baltimore and Pittsburgh. The Colts and the Jags. Injuries for both teams. Hell, it's that time of year, Pat. I don't think the Jags are winning because of Trevor Lawrence, but they're not losing because of Trevor Lawrence. And I don't know right now if you can say the same thing the last couple of weeks about the Colts QB.
Well, the Colts quarterback, as everybody knows, is wounded. He's not able to run. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jones is wounded.
We're there. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Jones is wounded. He can't really run, so there's no RPOs, and there's no real threat of the bootleg game. So you're strictly playing against the running back, Jonathan Taylor. And when they hold Jonathan under 100 yards, they are 0-5. And so it's a one-man army and you can absolutely play run defense the whole time. Jacksonville, it's funny, every time we talk about Jacksonville, we talk about Trevor. Maybe it's time to talk about the number one ranked run defense. What a good matchup for them to play against a wounded quarterback with a great running back. Just play the running back. I like Jacksonville in this game. And I like Liam Cohen.
The Colts were 8-2. Now listen, they've played two good teams at Kansas City, home for Houston. Jags on the road, Seahawks on the road, Niners at home, Jags at home, at Houston. There's not a bad team left on their schedule here. How many wins are on this schedule, Pat?
Well, I think we agree on Tuesday that 10 wins is mandatory to get in, right?
Yes. They're at 8 right now. Give them a split against the Jags. That puts them at 9. The other games are at Seattle, home for the Niners, and at Houston.
They lose all 3.
And miss the playoffs?
Yeah. Aren't we? Haven't we started to think maybe Chicago might miss? Are they the Chicago of the other conference?
Well, but the Bears haven't started losing yet. See, that's the difference. The Bears have had a couple tough ones here, but they've won them. The Colts lost theirs.
Yeah. And I don't see them getting – now, I like the Colts, but the schedule and the situation they're in right away with their own quarterback in a quarterback-driven league, he was a big reason they were winning early. He was tearing this league apart. He's not physically capable of doing what he has to do to be effective.
And that's part of that RPO game and getting outside the pocket and making plays that way. I will say, Pat, the one thing that would scare me, and I picked the Jags as well, but the Jags are awful against tight ends. That Indianapolis tight end's pretty good.
He's very good. And the one thing I'd say about that is I'd be blitzing up inside since I know the quarterback's going to be mostly on the midline. And I like Daniel Jones, but when people get in his face, he does strange things with the ball.
And let's face it, he's playing with a broken leg.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's trying to play through a broken leg. If you get near him, he's going to throw the ball away. Okay. I mean, he has to because he has to stay upright. They have a rookie as a backup. He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. We'll go through the rest of the Week 14 slate with Pat on the other side here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So I heard the birds. That means you're out on the patio.
I am.
I love it.
Yeah.
It might be the best broadcast booth. You know, it's too bad that you and Jim don't do. You know, I'm sure you have. Do you have a camera so you see one another or no?
No, we could do it, but we never do.
I would just have a camera if I were you, and I'd have it facing the other way, not even on you. I would just have it facing, you know, the golf there. It would be
Yeah, I could always turn and sit at the other end of the table with my back to the golf, and then camera right here. That would.
But I mean, for you to do that show with that, just to say, I mean, I'm glad you're good at what you do and pay attention, because I can see myself going, "Ooh, there's a boat out there."
Well, you'd be worse than that, because you'd hear a golf ball hit and you'd get up to go see what he did. I hear every tee shot.
Oh yeah, of course you do, because they echo.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's a hard hole, and I love when there's a new guy on. He goes, "What the hell's with this hole?" You know, like, I know it's the first timer.
Yep. And that is well, that's 9 now, right? They switched to 9s.
Yes.
Which I think was dumb, but that's just me. I thought 16, 17, 18, and I've not played everywhere down here, so I know people in the chat room will tell me better. But of the courses I've played in Southwest Florida, I thought that was the best 3 finishing holes down, because 16's just an MFer. It's not a good hole, it's a great hole.
I love it. And the next little par 3 is no joke either.
Oh, it's not a little par 3, because you're 190 if you're playing anywhere back there. That's a tough hole. Then all of a sudden you got to hit a tee shot to a spot on 18.
You do.
You get off the tee, it's not a hard hole. I mean, it's tight, but it's not hard. But that's a menacing looking tee shot. All the trees on the right and all water on the left.
And everything rolls into the woods if you're up too high.
Yep.
But they think they switched it because of the halfway house place.
Gotcha.
That used to be where 1 was. It made no sense to people, but they liked it on the turn. But I'm old school. When I play a lot where I played the now back, just like the old days when it was 1.
Well, it's funny because our place, I don't know about you, but at our place they do the split tees. You know, we have so you're going out front and back anyhow. So it doesn't really matter which side's which.
That's right. And so I just like to play the course where the finishing 3 holes are the ones you think should be the finishing 3 holes.
Oh, so good.
And I always do that when someone comes to visit me that's never played it. I always want them to have those at the end. Yeah. You want a free hat or a free shirt? Par these 3 holes.
And I'm telling you, if you make 3, screw birdies. If you could make 3 pars finishing, I mean, because you hit a good drive on 16 or 7 or whatever that, I mean, and I don't hit it short. You hit a good drive there. You still got a lot of club in your hand to an elevated green. I mean, that second shot, and it's gorgeous too. I mean, that hole just is a beautiful golf hole.
Yep.
All 3 of them are.
And a lot of stuff rolls out the back on that 7/.
Yes.
And you're trying.
Yeah, because you're hitting a 4-iron or something like that in.
And it goes all the way down the back. and then you're coming back on. That's rolling back down to the swamp there. So I've seen plenty of guys not negotiate the green properly.
Put it this way, I've had a lot more double finishes than I've had par.
Yeah, I told you I offer a free shirt or hat to anyone any new guy. I would say same thing to him. And I bought Paul Alexander a hat and one of my relatives a shirt. And I've been here a long time. Yeah. Well, yesterday was the first day I really did anything. I got out of all the crap I do at about 10:45, and I went over to the driving range and I hit over 100 balls just to blow some rust off. I really hadn't played since the end of July. So it was fun. I'm going to go do it again today. And then next week start playing on probably Wednesdays and Thursdays. Those are the only 2 days I can play.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. Pat's weekly appearances are brought to you courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. All right. First place showdown in the AFC South. First place showdown in the AFC North. First place showdown in the NFC North. Okay. Packers have stepped it up. Bears have stepped it up. Bears win in Philly. Do you look at them differently now?
Yes. Mainly because of how they ran the ball against Philadelphia. That was pretty impressive when you consider Vic Fangio, the talent they have on defense, and then it wasn't 150 yards rushing. It was 281 yards rushing. So, yes, I do see them differently. I like them a lot. They're fun to like with the way the kid's not playing great. He's about a 50% completion guy, the quarterback, Caleb, but the run game's good. They actually got Dennis Allen's done a nice job of getting a bunch of average defensive guys to play well. I do not agree with the 7 points. Like I'm going to pick Green Bay to win, but to get that 7 point, that's way too much to cover in my mind.
I'll say this, though, Pat. The Bears have been amazing since week one. They've been amazing in close games. I think they have 2 1-point wins, a 2-point, 3-point, 4-point, and 5-point win this year. They've been amazing in the one-score games.
Them and Denver are taking on the mantra of Kansas City last year, right? Won all those one-score games. And
right.
Nobody's better at it than Denver. If you look at some of their wins, 1 point against the Jets, 2 points against the Giants, that kind of stuff. They have 4 wins against terrible teams by 3 points or less.
Right. So, just beat Washington by a point. Right.
Yeah. So it's this sometimes that's on your side, but in this one, now I do think they might split. I have that much respect for Chicago, but this is a big call. This is the next step up. And it might go back to what we are worried about with Philly, but I think Green Bay, and I'm probably influenced by being on the sideline for that opener with Detroit when I saw what they could look like when they're really playing. I like the game, but I don't think 7. I would take Chicago in the points, honestly, but I think that thing should be like 3 points at the most.
Yeah, we're both with you. We talked about that earlier this week when we saw the number, thought it was very odd. The running back for the Bears, who's been great, I see him as questionable. Anything to be concerned with there? Because, I mean, come on, you just talked about it. Caleb's been okay. The running game's what's carried Chicago.
Yeah, well, they've been by committee here for a few weeks. And if they have to go with solo, that's okay for a week. It's not okay for the rest of the year. So I don't know the severity of it. I don't know if they have anyone in the wings. Thing about running backs on practice squads, they're usually ready to go. They've been doing everything the right way, and they're ready to roll. So I don't worry that much as long as you have one of those two guys. But I'll give Green Bay a shot at taking this on. And like you guys said, you introduced it with the divisions online. And the problem with the way we structure our playoffs is You don't fall to like Chicago. If they lose the game by a point or two, they're still one of the top teams, but they're going to slide all the way down to the 6th seed.
Right. And we were talking about the Colts before the break, talking about the Bears now. You know what they both have in common? The San Francisco 49ers on their schedule during the final 3 weeks of the season. All right. Listen, we had the upset last week. We had Carolina knocking off the Rams. Is there a game that you look at here? You know, Atlanta at home against Seattle, Cincy on the road at Buffalo, the Raiders at home against Denver, the Rams at Arizona. Is there a good team clearly expected to win that you think could be in a tough spot?
I love the question. Not the Saints knocking off Tampa Bay. I don't see that one coming. Cincinnati giving it to Buffalo. There's one.
Yep. I'm with you there, Pat. I think that there's something there, but you know, I a game that means a lot to both. We talked about it. Teams that are in must-win situations. Houston and Kansas City, they cannot afford very many more losses. Maybe Houston could because they're still in the hunt for the division, depending on how things go. But Kansas City's lost 3 of 4, yet they're a 3.5-point favorite against a great defense, and now Stroud's back. And the tackle's out for KC. So what do you see Sunday night, Pat?
Yeah, I'm treating Kansas City the way Detroit was treated. A team that knows what it's all about to be in the playoffs, talented enough to be there, probably good enough to win a couple of rounds, and they're in this predicament where they may not make it. I think the desperate Kansas City Chiefs are a different animal because I've seen them like this before, and they get pretty rough. And what am I betting on when I take them? Well, home field's part of it when you go there. But number 2, which is really number 1, is Spags. It's the vulnerability. I know Houston's defense is awesome, and I was talking to their head coach yesterday for a while. He's all excited. Should be. Those guys are going to make – but he said to me, first off, Mahomes is 5-1 against the Houston Texans. And D'Amico right away said, you know what he's going to do against us? He's just going to get rid of the ball real fast. He's going to frustrate our pass rush. He said that, and I think he's right about that. I don't think I'll say this. I think the score of this game is 17-14. I don't think that these two defenses are going to dominate this thing.
To me, remember when Green Bay went into Detroit and we're like, are the Packers ready to take that next step? And the answer was an emphatic yes. You know, this is the type of team that Houston loses to. They lost to them in the divisional round in the playoffs last year at Arrowhead, where they outplayed them for like a good chunk of that game, but they couldn't put them away, settled for field goals. Mahomes and Kelsey hooked up twice. Okay, you wonder, is Houston ready? It's one thing to go to Indianapolis and win. It's another thing in December to go to Arrowhead.
Yeah, that is a fact, and that's how I see it. Now, that Thursday night game when Houston just destroyed in those red uniforms, I won't forget that game this year. If they show up and play like that, yeah, it's a problem. But I thought D'Amico was all over it. He goes, Mahomes can scramble. Mahomes will have to be outside the pocket. We have to be very worried about contain. As soon as I hear the word contain, it means no teeing off and just rushing the quarterback. It means be careful. Don't let him outside, which slows down the rush. I just think that he's going to come in there. Mahomes, you talk about desperate. Look how desperate Detroit was last night. We had 100 reasons why they couldn't win that game with all their injuries. We have plenty of reasons why Kansas City can't. And I like Houston, but I do think Spags will do enough to confuse. That offense fired their coach last year, and were they much better this year? I think many days we talked on Fridays or Tuesdays that was it really the coach or was it the protectors?
Well, they can't. I mean, Houston can't run the football. And at the end of the day, to me, if you're going to beat Kansas City, you've got to have something in the rushing game. And I don't think the Texans have anything to run the football.
Yeah, and I hope Spags is prudent with the use of Chris Jones. I've seen too many games now where he just runs out of gas. He cannot play 50 plays. He needs to be doing what we talked about with Muhammad, 35 plays, and give it and mostly pass downs. wreak havoc from the inside on those pass downs. And the rest of it will survive the best we can. And if they're not a great run team, to your point, Mark, then I'm not going to waste Jones in those situations.
Well, the other thing the Chiefs did in the fourth quarter of a 1-point playoff game, they blitzed the out of the Texans, and they sacked CJ 9 times in the game. You've got to think that Spags is going to go back to that formula and force the Texans to prove him wrong. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, have a great weekend. Thanks for your time.
Another enjoyable football weekend. Take care, boys.
Pat Kirwan joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family-owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You ever notice when a fan is worried about either their team or another team, they trash everything they can? Just saying. Michael, what would you be more scared of? A first-round matchup, let's just say, for sake of argument, you're the 2. Who would you rather play? Chargers, the Colts, the Bills, or the Chiefs? You'd be more scared of the Chargers than the Chiefs. Wow. Okay. I think you're delusional, Michael. I think you're absolutely delusional. I think your hatred for their greatness shines through. David, can I ask you a question?
Sure, Mark.
I didn't hear all of Tiger's comments, and Tiger was talking about the new tour and all of these things. But if you were running the PGA Tour, would you put Tiger in charge of your future competition committee?
No.
What the F? He's going to be 50. Why? Look, Tiger is either the best or the second best guy to have ever played the sport. But I don't get it.
No, I think they just want him as involved as possible, and so that's why I think they just keep bringing him on to things. Anything he wants to be involved in, they go, okay. But, the one thing I do know, if you've listened to Tiger closely, the tour is going to get more exclusive.
Oh, not only more exclusive. They're going to whatever. They don't want to start until after the Super Bowl. What are they doing with Torrey? What are they doing with Phoenix? Phoenix? I always thought Phoenix was a pretty well-watched event. Had a lot of things going for it. Super Bowl week.
I think you got to start cutting out, what used to be the Bob Hope. That'll go away. Quite frankly, you're going to have to start losing tournaments. Okay, like the Honda, and the Honda and the Valspar will be in trouble if they're really committed to, starting in mid-February. I mean, half the Florida swing goes away.
Valspar's done.
Yeah, and I think the Honda will be done too.
Unless it's signature.
Well, I just think they'll get rid of it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. 22 minutes till we go a little in depth on the Big Ten title game with Sammy Jacobs. He covers Indiana sports for Who's Your Huddle. Not who's your
huddle.
Right.
Who's your cuddle?
He'll join us coming up at the top of the hour.
All right, that means we got to pick NFL games straight up right now.
Well, and the same with the conference championships. We can start with them straight up.
All right.
You and I differ on a lot of games when it comes to point spreads, but will we differ as to who we think is going to win? Like, I'm taking Troy at 23.5. We both have James Madison winning, though.
Right. You didn't pick it, but are you picking the Gamecocks or the Owls?
I will take Jacksonville State.
Good for you. That's the Gamecocks, by the way, in case you were wondering. That is the Conference USA Championship. I really just did that for you-know-what and giggles. Let's get to the games that matter. You and I both picked differently. You've taken Boise. I took the points. I think UNLV not only covers, I'm taking UNLV in the upset. Give me Dan Mullen in that game to win.
And I like Boise to win, and I picked them to cover. I think Boise at home, UNLV's not been a great road team. They've been okay. Boise's clearly a different team at home. Give me Boise.
Both, 5-1 at home, 5-1 on the road for UNLV. We both like Tulane to beat North Texas. We're trying to figure out why North Texas is favored. A true road game in the American. Tulane is hosting that game. And for Miller and Moulton, we can't get past all the points South Florida scored against North Texas.
It is remarkable. North Texas went 11-1 and got beat at home by South Florida by 30. And Miller and Moulton have it in our heads because we saw that game. They were both unbeaten at the time that they played. Or no, South Florida had just lost to Miami, but they were beginning conference play, and they humiliated them. But North Texas obviously recovered. We're both taking Tulane.
North Texas did not play a very difficult schedule in the American as well. Outside of South Florida, they did beat Navy, but they didn't play Memphis. They didn't play Tulane. So I just think Tulane's had a little tougher road, a little better competition this year. All right, let's get to the big games. Do you give BYU any shot to win?
Yeah, I do. They turned it over 3 times in the first meeting, lost by 3 touchdowns. And yeah, I do. I think BYU hangs in the game. I think Tech wins. I think BYU hangs.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech will score lots of points. They put up a lot of yards every game, and I think they'll be able to do it against BYU. But it should hopefully for BYU's sake, it would be great if they win, because then what the hell's the committee going to do? They're going to bounce Notre Dame. Georgia and Alabama. Look, I get all the reasons why Georgia's favored. I totally understand. I can't pick Georgia against Alabama. Can't do it. I think the back end for Kirby's team's not great, and I think this kid's been throwing the ball better all year, although he's been a little shaky the last couple of weeks. I like the receivers for Alabama, David.
Well, there's no doubt they've got a big edge there. The Georgia quarterback is a plucky little guy, though, isn't he?
I love me some Gunnar Stockton. And I mean, when you go get your Ford at Gunnar Stockton Ford one day.
Hold on. I thought it was at Stetson Bennett Ford.
Different cities, different dealerships. Gunner's up in the mountains there. I mean, whether it's Gunnar Stockton Ford or Gunnar Stockton State Farm Insurance Agent, whatever it is, it's going to do really well in North Georgia.
Well, he's going to have to beat Alabama then in a big spot, I think, to get the dealerships. So give me the kid and his dealerships. I like Georgia to finally get off the schneid in the SEC title game against Alabama.
And I took Ohio State and laid the point, so I obviously think the Buckeyes are going to win. David took Indiana in the points. Are you taking them for the upset?
I don't think I have the guts to.
And
I think they have a real shot. I do. I think Ohio State's going to be one-dimensional in this game. Indiana can rush the passer. I don't know that anybody's secondary can cover those wide receivers, but I think Indiana will get more. He's been sacked 6 times all year. He's been sacked 6 times all year. I'm telling you, he's going to get more pressure in this game than he's faced all season. Ohio State with a late kick wins.
And Duke and Virginia played before. Virginia won. Duke can score points, and I think they will this time. Give me Duke in the rematch.
Yeah, they doubled up Duke at Duke not that long ago. This is one of the biggest Cinderella stories we've had in the last 10 years. Virginia was not seen as a top 50 team in the country, and they're going to win the ACC. It's remarkable.
All right, let's go through some NFL games. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. David, who do you got in this great NFL rivalry?
Yeah, it's tough to pick the Steelers against anybody right now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Give me Baltimore at home. Seattle and Atlanta. I think Atlanta, obviously, they got Kirk Cousins playing. They're done. Give me the Seahawks.
Cousins has played well the last 2 weeks. He's not the reason they're losing. Atlanta's not a well-coached team. Give me Seattle.
Tennessee at Cleveland, a battle of bad teams. Shedeur Sanders gets his first win. I'll take the Browns.
I think weather's going to be a factor. Give me Cleveland.
Miami and the Jets. I took the Jets +3. I think the Jets win outright. I'll take New York.
Dolphins have won 3 in a row. Jets have won 3 of 5. Give me the Dolphins.
By the way, David up 1 on the season in straight up picks in the NFL. Tampa Bay's hosting New Orleans. They're not going to screw this up.
I don't think so because I don't know that the Saints can score enough points to pull off the upset.
Right. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. I'm taking the Jags. I just think at home they're going to win. They're probably going to be a split, but they're going to get this one.
They haven't won in Jacksonville since what, 2014? 2015? I mean, haven't they lost 9 in a row in Jacksonville? Yes. Aren't they due?
You tell me.
Give me the Jags.
All right. Washington at Minnesota. Daniel's coming back. I'll take the Commanders.
I'll take the Vikings. Okay. The Vikings. This is a huge game for J.J. McCarthy because the veterans are sticking their neck out supporting him. He needs to deliver in this game. He's facing the right defense to do it against.
That's very true. Cincinnati at Buffalo. I'm calling for the upset.
Whoa!
Buffalo and take the Bills down.
Yeah, Buffalo does what Baltimore wouldn't do, which is run the damn ball. Bengals 31st in run defense. Give me the Bills.
Denver at Las Vegas. No chance for Vegas. They're awful.
Wow, they are really
awful.
Bad. The Bengals have put up some clunkers against bad teams, though, but division game, I don't think they'll put up a clunker.
Chicago at Green Bay. I nearly took the Bears and the points. I think Green Bay is going to win the football game. I just have trouble seeing this being Green Bay by more than 6.5, but I'll take the Packers in a good, close NFC Norris game.
Is Caleb Williams ready if the ball is put in his lap to win a game like this? Because I have to believe that Green Bay defensively is going to force Caleb Williams to win the game. You know, I've got my questions about Jordan Love. In a couple of big spots this year, he's played well. I got my questions about Caleb. This is a really big spot. You got to prove it to me, kid. I'll take the Packers.
He's had a lot of Bo Nixon in this year, though.
Yes.
Where he's, where he struggled here and there, put the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter, and he's made plays. So we'll see.
And a lot of them with his legs also, Mark. His rushing yard totals against tired defenses trying to rush the passer is significant.
I just think Micah will get him once when it matters, and that could be the difference in the game. Rams at Arizona. The Rams are huge favorites. We should really say, do you like the Cardinals and the points? But this is a straight-up segment. I'll take the Rams.
Tough to envision the Rams losing 2 in a row. They said it afterwards. The Carolina loss as a wake-up call. Plus, division game, very key. Come tiebreaker with Seattle, very big.
Houston is at Kansas City. I kind of lean the way Pat does. I can't see Kansas City losing 4 of 5. Low-scoring game. I'm sorry. I'll take Mahomes.
Oh, I will too. And I think the part of the game that's not being talked about, everybody talking about Houston's pass rush, the Chiefs' offensive line, the injured left tackle. Houston couldn't block Kansas City's pass rush last year, and the O-line ain't any better. Okay, so I'll take the Chiefs in this one. Listen, the Chiefs may run the table. Houston, Chargers, Denver, all at home, okay, but 2 cupcakes on the road. But if they hold serve at home, don't be surprised if the Chiefs are there at the end.
Eagles and Chargers, it's where David will be on Monday night. Philadelphia on the road, a 2.5-point favorite. You took the Chargers and the points. It's so little that I'm assuming you're taking the Chargers to win. Everybody, when they start bashing the Eagles win. Give me Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers. I'm really worried. really worried about Philadelphia. And the Chargers are very well coached. I think this is where the offense coordinator for the Eagles really hurts him. He will get out chess matched in this game badly. Badly. The lack, unless they come up with something during this week off, I think the Eagles offense struggles in this game.
We shall see. I think that Saquon has a big night and Philadelphia takes care of business. David's up 1 on the year. We differ on 4 games. I'm taking a lot of dogs. That's unusual for me. I've got the Jets. David's got the Dolphins. I've got Washington. David's got Minnesota. I'm calling for the Bengals to upset the Bills. David says I'm nuts, and I'll take Philadelphia. David's got the Chargers. We agree on everything else. Numbers are out from last week, and the most watched college football game of the season, yep, Michigan and Ohio State.
Oh,
and if the Big Ten could just have those two teams play each other every week, they wouldn't have a problem with all of their TV partners.
wait a minute. Ohio State, Michigan was the highest rated game of the college football season? What?
18.4 million viewers. The biggest game of the season. Texas and Ohio State did 16.6 million.
Is there a common denominator in those two games? Is there anything that jumps out to you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, add snow, and everybody's talked about it. I mentioned it on Monday. The best mascot performance you got to go back 20 years to have a better mascot performance than what Brutus pulled off in the end zone against Michigan.
I think you have to switch sports. I think you almost have to go chicken or fanatic.
Chicken fanatic. I mean,
right.
the gorilla there for the Suns that was doing all the dunks back in the day. There's a platform you could go to. But in football, in college football, that was awesome. It really was. Someone should have tackled the Buckeye mascot. While he was doing that, a cheerleader should have just come downfield and put a shoulder into the mascot. And it would have been better if it was a female cheerleader.
Did Michigan and Texas basically agree to play a bowl game against each other?
That's the looks of it, yeah.
Yeah, that one's kind of carved in stone there. It'll all get announced on Sunday. I mean, we'll know before the NFL kicks off on Sunday who's in the playoff and who's not. I think it's noon on Sunday. The spectacle on ESPN. I will say for the record, I am desperately rooting for James Madison, BYU, and Duke. I want as much chaos as possible.
Well, I just want 2 of the 3 because I'm fine with Texas winning, but I want JMU and Duke to win so that the committee who had JMU ranked 25th either has to put Duke above them or take 2 group of 6 teams in the college football playoff. That's what I want. And then what happens to Miami and Notre Dame?
Well, if BYU wins, somebody's in trouble.
Absolutely. We'll talk Big Ten championship from an Indiana perspective next. Miller and Moulton on a Football Friday. Thanks for listening. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Okay, I just saw the best thing I'm going to see all day. Did you see the video that's already out about the NASCAR trial in Charlotte?
No.
Jordan is scheduled to testify today. He gets out of his car. I mean, it looks amazing. He's slowly walking into the courthouse, and there's one fan who's playing the Bulls intro theme song.
That's awesome.
OMG.
That's awesome.
I've had a couple of opportunities this week to run errands. And Mark, you know, I flip around NBA radio, NHL radio, all right, NFL radio, MLB network radio. What have I turned on driving around running errands this week? NASCAR radio. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Arch, it was off the cuff because there's no way you knew it was going to snow and leave snow in the end zone. I mean, maybe someone suggested it to him, but come on. You have no, I mean, how many times has Brutus done a game in the snow? And maybe because they had snow a couple of years ago when they lost, so maybe he thought of it then, or who, because of the mascot typically change, and I would, in fact, always changes every year, I believe.
I think so.
And I know, like at Michigan State, they had like 3 Sparties. They have like 3 people that do it because you have obviously different sports and they've got to be at different places and what have you. So, yeah. I got to be honest right there. I'm going to pat myself on the back. That was John Cassio level good phone that I gave before the interview.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, fourth and final hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And let's talk Big Ten title game, shall we? Sammy Jacobs, there wouldn't be HoosierHuddle.com without him. You can follow Sammy and the crew at Hoosier Huddle at Hoosier_Huddle. Sammy, it's David and Mark. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. It's a great time to be a Hoosier, a person who covers Indiana football. So getting ready for a very exciting weekend here in Indianapolis.
All right. Ohio State's obviously had unbelievable success in their football program. They won a natty. They finally beat Michigan. Does this game mean more to Indiana than it does Ohio State?
I think so. I can't attest to what Ohio State is feeling inside their building, but from the fan base, and I have a couple Buckeye friends. But from the fan base, it's like there are bigger fish to fry for them. But for Indiana, you haven't won a Big Ten title since 1967. You only have two of those. You haven't knocked off Ohio State since 1988. There's a lot on the line, and then just to have it in Indianapolis and to have the potential of celebrating kind of locally with a lot of IU fans who have been long suffering, to say the least. But yeah, I think the Big Ten championship means more to the Indiana fan base than it does to the Ohio State fan base.
It's going to be just an amazing day tomorrow in Indianapolis for the Hoosiers. Their basketball team is playing Louisville in the early afternoon. I mean, there's going to be thousands of fans at that game who don't have tickets to the football game. So the party scene in Indy will be remarkable. Never mind if Indiana actually pulls off the upset. Sammy, where are they better to compete against Ohio State this year than last? Once the special teams errors happened last year and they fell behind offensively, they couldn't do squat. When you look at how this IU team matches up, how do you see it?
Yeah, so you mentioned the special teams error, which you had the drop punt snap and then, punting it to the wrong side of the field, and all-world defensive back Caleb Downs takes it for a touchdown. They have improved on special teams. They, their punter is only punted like 24 times all year, so you don't really know how awesome or not awesome he's going to be. But you'd think that they could avoid the mistake of just dropping a snap. And Coach Signetti had said that they were the moment got too big for them there. And that is they've gone into some really tough venues this year in Iowa, at Oregon, Penn State, and won and faced some adversity in those games too. And special teams came through. They blocked the punt at Iowa. They hit a late field goal at Iowa. And, everybody saw the last drive at Penn State. Where also I think they improved was another area of concern against Ohio State last year along the offensive line. Ohio State timed up Indiana snaps, and it was basically in the backfield before the ball got to the quarterback a lot of times, and you have no chance if that happens. This year they bring in Pat Coogan from Notre Dame. He's been a real stabilizing factor on that offensive line. I know Carter Smith, the right tackle, won Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year, but Pat Coogan has been in these big games in neutral sites, has beaten some big-time teams at Notre Dame in the playoff last year and brought that experience. They've handled the noise pretty well, outside of a few false starts at Oregon, which wasn't really caused by the noise, but more them stemming and shifting on the defensive line. Even though Penn State was 3-5 at the time, that place was, it still had 90 to 100,000 people there screaming their heads off for an upset in the last 3 minutes of that game. They handled it well. So the two areas where they struggled last year, special teams and the offensive line, they've upgraded. I also think you have an upgraded quarterback with Fernando Mendoza. As good as Curtis Rourke was last year, he was playing on one leg with torn ACL and really, was not mobile. Fernando has had a Heisman type year, as everybody knows, with the Heisman Mendoza campaign, but he could run the ball too. And that's been an underrated part of his game, is that he's picked up some big first downs and scored some touchdowns with his legs, and just gives you a little bit more mobility to shift the pocket and avoid the rush that Curtis Rourke did last year. So those are the three big areas that they've improved over last year.
Well, a lot to digest there, but I'm glad you brought up the Iowa game, because to me, Indiana's defense has been pretty damn good this year. Ohio State's defense is probably the best in the country. I don't see a lot of points in this game. And it seems to me that Iowa game is a good template as to how, because Indiana can score, seemingly on anybody. They put 30 up against Oregon, but I don't see the points coming against the Buckeyes. And the fact that they won that road game at Iowa, that's a tough place to play. If you're not a Big Ten guy, you don't get it. But Kinnick on the road's a son of a gun. And I think that's the template for how they beat the Buckeyes. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree to a point. IU has to play their game, and they kind of got off of it at Iowa a little bit. But yeah, it's that template where Indiana can win, has won in every style. If you want to score with them, kind of like Oregon did, they'll put 30 up on you. They put 63 up on Illinois. But if you want to grind it out, IU can grind it out as well. They had 6 games of over 300 yards rushing. Their offensive line is up for the Joe Moore Award. So if you want to get down and dirty and ugly as much as you can in a dome stadium, they could do that too. But yeah, Iowa's that template to where we could win a game just scoring 20 points. Where last year you didn't really think that. The two teams, Notre Dame and Ohio State, where they lost, they didn't. They scored under 20 points. They had trouble moving the ball on offense. But this year, you'd think that Indiana can win a 20-17 game or a 24-20 game because they have the proof there at Iowa. Hey, we don't need to score 1 million points to win. Our defense is pretty good. We need to play our game on offense, be aggressive, and score as many points as we can. But that could also be 17 to 20 points on Ohio State's defense.
Talking Indiana Hoosiers, getting ready tomorrow night to play Ohio State for the Big Ten Championship with Sammy Jacobs. HoosierHuddle.com, HoosierHuddle.com. Follow Sammy and his crew at Hoosier Huddle at Hoosier_Huddle. Is Cignetti any different heading into this big game this year than he was heading into the Ohio State regular season game and the playoff game against Notre Dame? Is he different with this crew?
I think so. Last year he had all those sound bites. Google me. We're the emerging superpower in the Big Ten. We kick top 25 teams' butts and all that stuff. He really hasn't done that this year. He's had some good sound bites, but they weren't as rambunctious as last year's. So I think he's a little bit more confident. And there's a reason behind everything he said. And, he said what he said his first year because the fan base really needed a jolt to wake up. Now that they've won, 23 out of 25 games, the fan base is fired up. You don't need those things necessarily. So he's been very complimentary of everybody. He's not going to give, he didn't give Dan Lanning anything when they went up to Oregon and all that stuff, but he's laser focused on the game, and it shows. But he's not. I think it shows that he's confident, but he's not overcompensating for a lack of energy in the fan base.
Is this going to be a home game for Indiana? We talked about it before you were on air. You mentioned it's obviously in Indianapolis, but the Buckeyes travel as well as any team in the country. Do you think Indiana's going to have the crowd edge?
Yeah, so going into the game this week, I did a couple Buckeye podcasts, and they asked me the same question. And I was like, hey, I think it's going to be 50-50. Look, the get-in price on SeatGeek and StubHub is like $700. It's astronomical. So it's a hot ticket. The Buckeye podcast host was saying that they expected it to be 70% IU fans. My thing is I think it's not going to be a all-pro Ohio State crowd as it had in the past. But I would expect more 50-50 until I get downtown. But I know a lot of people from IU are going, and it wouldn't shock me if it was 60-40 IU or 70-30 IU. And it could be that home crowd, that home crowd that you need. IU fans have traveled very well. They traveled very well to Oregon. They took over Ross-Ade Stadium against Purdue. You look at last year, they went out to the Rose Bowl and had about 10,000 fans there. So, one of the things that goes into this is, and we might have talked about it before with how much it means to Ohio State, with the prices and all of these things for travel and the neutral sites games down the road, how much disposable income do people have to say, hey, you know what, let's save the $2,000 that we're going to spend on tickets and go to the game and use it to go to whatever the quarterfinal playoff bowl is, or the semifinal, or the national championship. So I think you're going to see that in play too for Ohio State. Whereas Indiana, this is their first time in the Big Ten title game. They haven't won a Big Ten title since 1967. So it's kind of worth dropping that money right now because you don't know when it's going to happen again. You could almost pencil Ohio State into the Big Ten title game more years than not.
Sammy, 30 seconds. Ohio State is a quarterback who may win the Heisman, and they've got the best wide receiving core in the country. Can Indiana's secondary hold up?
They have to get pressure on Julian Saint. That's the key. And no matter how good your secondary is, if you don't pressure the quarterback, it's not going to matter. Now, D'Angelo Pons is also an all-world defensive back, and people have stayed away from him this year, but he can't cover two wide receivers at once. So getting pressure will be the key to help that secondary out. I do think the secondary can hold their own, but they're all universe wide receivers at Ohio State. They're going to make a few plays, and it's going to be one of the best matchups to watch, not only of this game, but of the year.
Sammy, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it. Soak up tomorrow, enjoy it, and safe travels throughout the college football playoff. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you guys for having me on. Enjoy the warm weather.
Sammy Jacobs, HoosierHuddle.com, HoosierHuddle.com. Follow him and the crew on X at Hoosier_Huddle.
When I got him on the phone, I said, how you doing? He says, cold. It's 14. I said, not here. I said, I hate to break it to you. I'm in shorts and flip-flops.
Oh, man.
Miller and Moulton. That's part of my charm. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Damn. That is something, Paula.
So that just happened. Huh. Get your popcorn ready.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
"21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. On a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And we may change subjects here for a second, although, believe it or not, football will be involved, not immediately, but down the road. Mark, we talk all the time about, these private equity folks, and they're going to pump $1 billion here, $2 billion there, whether it's buying a stake in the Big Ten or, the PGA Tour money.
Tour, right.
Right. That's a couple $1 billion. What was the price tag that Netflix just paid to buy Warner Brothers?
I know what happened, but I did not see the price tag. So you're going to have to help.
It's $72 billion. I mean, Apple thinks that's a lot of money. I mean, Gates thinks that that's a lot of money. I mean, hell, they outbid the Oracle guy. I mean, wow. And you don't think if they want a piece of the NFL, when the NFL becomes available in a few years, they're not going to get it? I mean, seriously. Mark, just don't you think they're going to say to the NFL, hey, between Fox, NBC, CBS, ABC, which package do we get? Well, we don't necessarily want to force them out. Yeah, okay. What's your price?
This is fascinating, though. This is a streaming service jumping into a lot of, I guess, traditional media.
Yeah, because they get what? HBO with this. They get all the Warner Brothers movie studio stuff.
Right.
Right. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I mean.
72. Buh-buh. I don't know. It seems a lot of money to me. Maybe it's not.
The thing out of this that I'm bummed out on, there are two shows, and look, I'm not going political. I find the shows entertaining. They both lean left. I get it. One I don't like as much as I used to. That's John Oliver, because he's really gone nuts. And the other one's the Bill Maher Show. But they're both off until late January. Like their seasons ended. And Oliver's been funny when talking about stuff like this and going after his bosses. And that's something you and I can respect.
Yes, very much so.
So I'm not doing it to go political. I'm not. I don't think the way that they do. I find the shows to be funny. The new rules at the end of Mars, funny. Oliver at the beginning of the show, funny. The rest of it, whatever. But Oliver's attacked the bosses more than once. And he's brought this up. So I'm like, God, I'd like to see what the two guys that do essentially, live type shows, or at least live in front of an audience shows, would say about their new boss.
Right.
That's all.
Speaking of money, did you see it either live yesterday or the clips of the Texas Tech guy on McAfee?
I did not.
I didn't see it live because I don't watch any of that stuff live. But I saw some of the clips on X. And I got to admit, is it Cody Campbell? Is that his name?
Is it you're talking about the big booster that also is the guy paying for Save College Sports?
I mean, right.
All the ads he's running about taking care of the Olympic sports when all the NIL money is what's destroyed the Olympic sports at the collegiate level.
Right.
So, it kind of speaks out of both sides of his mouth. So,
well, either that or you could see him as he's just funding everything right now. Because it's, Texas Tech obviously bought the softball pitcher for $1 million a year. Okay, so he's given, Texas Tech whatever they need. Boom, I'm going to give it to you for all sports. And obviously, look at the impact it's made in the football program here in a very short period of
Yes.
time. I mean, they're in the top 5 of the country. Texas Tech, Indiana, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt are all in the top 15 of the country in college football. It's
Right.
a remarkable time
It really
right
is.
now. But while at the same time basically saying to Texas Tech, hey, I know the system's broken. I'll deal with that over here. I'll give you whatever you need. So he's given Texas Tech whatever they need, while at the same time, he has this campaign going where he's like, this system's a joke. We got to fix this. His thing on McAfee yesterday, which I found interesting, he said, college football is at least twice as popular as the NBA. And college football has less than half the revenue in the sport that the NBA has. He goes, if you're running college athletics and college football, don't you want to fix that? If you could get your system in place, like the NFL and the NBA, and he said a commissioner. What are they offering?
There you go. That's
Right.
the key word there. That's the word. We've talked about that for a long time on this show. With Petiti and Sankey running their 2 respective conferences, do you ever see them giving up power to either or someone else?
And the only way that you could see the schools, the university presidents, deciding to take the power away from Petiti and Sankey is if someone can show them financially. They're holding you back, right? If you did this system, you'd make 2-3 times as much money. Okay, kind of like what Pete Rozelle was able to convince Wellington Mara 60 years ago with the Giants. Don't keep all the money to yourself. We need to share it. We'll grow it together. It'll be better for the league that way. And the Giants and the Bears and a few others said, okay. And obviously look at the NFL. So, Mark, yes, there's the commissioner angle that he says is obviously needed. But what's the other part that the NFL and the NBA have that college sports doesn't have? They're employees, and it's a players association, and we negotiate with them.
And I guess you're right that he funded softball. But again, I did say Olympic sports because softball's a revenue generating sport for some schools. And I think he's trying to make it that at Texas Tech. Like baseball only makes money at a few schools. Softball's a little easier to make money at some schools, and the Oklahomas of the world do. So I find the guy very interesting. And I
do too.
I don't know if there's a real end game there or if it's just the fact I've got so much damn money and here's what I'm spending it on.
He thinks it'll take 10 to 12 years, by the way. That's how long-term he's thinking. So think about it. We got the current contracts, which go into the early 2030s. He's thinking, I think he's going to try to get it changed sometime in the 2030s. But, he's like, think about it. We're twice as popular as the NBA. We have less than half their revenue. Don't you think we're doing it wrong? How do you argue with that, Mark?
You don't. I have not. I didn't know you were going there, and I wish this. Now I got stuff to do this weekend. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm going to sit on my ass all day Saturday and watch football. But twice as popular in the NBA. In what demos? Because the NBA, despite the fact that a lot of people listening to our show right now cannot stand the NBA, I get it. Our last 2 producers are both around 25 years old. It's their favorite sport. Young people love the NBA. People in big cities love the NBA. If we were to put up what do you like more, college football or the NBA as a poll question, David, it would be 95-5.
Right. But obviously young people like college sports and college football. You see them at the games and the stands and what have you. Okay, it's not to the NBA. No, the NBA demo is better. 18 to 34, the NBA demo, I think, is better than the college football demo, no question. But, we all know. His point, though, is tough to argue against.
Right. No, I'm with you. 17+ million watched Michigan and Ohio State.
Right.
It's better than NBA final games, and it's not close. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Saw someone repost something, David. It was, I don't have it up anymore, but it was to the effect of Penn State should just take a gap year.
Yes.
Go tour Europe. Maybe go
Yes.
to the MLB stadiums. I was like, that's
I
God,
laughed out loud.
That
Yeah.
is funny.
The whole Spittin' Chicklets crew disagreed with the hand pass call. I mean, so 4 on ice officials and the whole 4 former players. Unreal. Ah.
I liked Cooper's explanation post game. And just very matter of fact. I mean, he's such a level-headed guy. Could you imagine Torts or, I mean, there are 50 coaches in history. By the way, the hockey stuff's they had Luke Robitaille on Chicklets. I've just seen the clips that Robitaille lied to his coach about playing in front of the net on the power play because back then there wasn't film and he couldn't get on the power play. And Rogie Vachon was the GM. Says to him, I know you're upset. You're not on the power. Because Gretzky's on the power play. And, if you played, I played in front of the net in junior. Never played in front of the net at all. Lied through his teeth to get on the power play. Coach, I heard you played. I played in front of the net in junior.
Because he knows there's a lot of points out there on the ice for getting me on the power play. Buck's going to be on my stick a few times.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. Not just for the day, but for the week.
This week has flown by.
Yeah, we had a good week, I think. We had obviously, there's a lot of great stuff to talk about. A lot of meat on the bone, so to speak. I think we did a good job, going after I think we had jumbo wings this week. I do, and I think we were ready on Monday, man. We were digging in.
I love wings.
Yeah, me too.
I really do.
Are you going to now? Did I just send you down a path?
No, I mean, I'm a Costco shopper. I buy them and there's packages of 6. And I just bought because I was out. So I left 2. I freeze them. I freeze 4. I left 2 out. At any point today or tomorrow, I'm having wings. You didn't. I love wings. Love them. They're delicious.
All kinds, or do you ever go with the all, drums or all?
No. I look at what kind of wings do I like? Drums or flats? Whichever one my wife and daughter leave for me.
Okay.
I used to be a drum guy. To be honest, I'm more of a flats guy. It's easier. It's easier to eat them.
True.
You can get more off the bone. It's harder to get every bit of meat off the drum. You can just take those flats and gone.
How's that go? Oh, that's 2 flats. Didn't stand a chance there.
And you know what? We could be, you've taught me a lot, David, but on this show, because of the hours that we work, the show ends at 10. If I want to have lunch at 10:05, then I'm having lunch at 10:05.
You've been up 6 hours. Okay.
Right.
Do the math. Most people get up at 6 or 7. When do they eat lunch? It's fine. Never mind, you throw in the whole Florida thing. Okay, what meal can't you move up 60 to 90 minutes, right?
Well, exactly. And I don't do breakfast. I don't eat before the show. I swill my coffee all morning during the show, and it's about now that I'm a little hungry. And you know what? Wings could be in order today.
Absolutely.
My mom's out of town, so my golf game. Usually I play golf on Friday. My mom picks up my daughter. I'm in charge of the daughter today, so no golf. You know what? That's a little sacrifice I have to make up for it. Chicken wings.
I think you should treat yourself.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
The gold rush of 49 basically started today when President Polk in 48 confirmed the discovery of gold in California. Today in 1908, the first college football team used numerals on their uniforms. That team, the University of Pittsburgh. Einstein granted a visa to enter America today in 32. One of the happiest days in U.S. history was today in 1933. Because at 5:32 p.m. Eastern, the 21st Amendment was ratified, repealing the 18th Amendment. That was prohibition. It ended today. The American Federation of Labor and the Congress of Industrial Organizations merged today in 55 and became the AFL-CIO. Phil Esposito scores 2 today for the Bruins. He scored them against his brother Tony today in 68 as the Bruins and Canadians tie. It was his brother Tony's debut in the NHL. Today in 1970, the Stanley Cup, the Conn Smythe Trophy, and the Bill Masterson's Trophy were all stolen from the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Whoa. What are you going to do with them?
I have no idea.
I mean, what are you going to sell them to a pawn shop? I mean, seriously, what are you going to do with them?
I'd probably put them on the dark web and tried to sell them. 1973, Apple Records releases Paul McCartney and Wings' album Band on the Run. It was his biggest success post-Beatles. Monty Python's Flying Circus aired its final episode on the BBC today in 74. Today, we found out who Detective Axel Foley was as Beverly Hills Cop was released in 1984.
What was he, like 20?
Yeah.
My goodness. What an obscene talent he was. Still is, but my goodness.
That's the part of the documentary to me that, growing up then, I didn't realize he was that young. And yeah, you know that he is, but all that was thrust upon him at such a young age, and he stayed away from all the demons. He's not a drinker. He's not a drug user. From what I heard, he liked his women, but who doesn't? 1992, the first SEC championship game. Alabama takes down Florida 28-21.
Late pick six, and it was huge. Alabama was undefeated. They're going to go play for the national championship, but they have to beat Florida first. And none of the other conferences were playing it, and everybody thought the SEC were morons.
2001, Ocean's 11 premiered. That's a great flick. It really is. 2009, in the SEC championship game, Alabama beats Florida again. This time they rock them, 32-13.
Trying to repeat were the Gators. Tebow is a senior. And, yep, they got him.
Our 8th president, Martin Van Buren, Custer, Walt Disney, Strom Thurmond, Little Richard, and J.J. Cale, who wrote After Midnight, Call Me the Breeze, and Cocaine, would have all celebrated birthdays today. Jim Plunkett, 78, Lanny Watkins, 76, Art Monk, 68, Christian Yelich is 34, and Trey Hendrickson is 31 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Roone Arledge passed away on this day 23 years ago. He changed television news and sports. And Nelson Mandela died 12 years ago today at the age of 95.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to New Zealand, where police got their man. It took them 6 days to figure out if they actually had their guy. You see, a man was accused of swallowing a Fabergé pendant. They recovered it Thursday night after the pendant exited the suspects naturally without medical intervention. For the bad, we go to Port Charlotte, where a 23-year-old Port Charlotte man was arrested Monday evening attempting to break into a neighbor's home while intoxicated. See, he believed he was at his own home. Nolan Warland was so drunk he forgot where he lived. Man heard banging at the empty house next door to his and saw a nearly naked man in the yard trying to get into the home. Charlotte County Sheriff's Office was called. Worrell admitted that the house was his, or claimed the house was his, and that his mother-in-law and girlfriend were inside, but he was locked out. He was a block and a half away from home. Finally, the ugly, we go to North Texas, and not because they gave up 60-some points to South Florida, but because a 72-year-old woman is in a trauma center after a group of geese attacked her. She was feeding the ducks in City Lake Park in Royce City, Texas, when the geese came. And the geese wanted some food. Apparently, a large goose came up to her and started attacking the food. She fell. She tried to get up and flee. The geese chased her down, trapped her on the ground. She was unable to move. The woman, who was very small-statured, finally got some help from two people who saw her in trouble and were able to shoo the geese off. That, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Friday, December the 5th. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Great jobs available, not just police officers with great pay and overtime and all those great things, but other jobs are available. For information, where should they go?
CapeCops.com. I repeat, CapeCops.com.
All right. We've got championship action tonight in college football. Not a lot of meaningful conferences, but James Madison and Troy. James Madison has a shot to get into this thing. That's at 7. The American Athletic is at 8.
Hey, the winner of the American is assured of a spot in the playoff.
Assured.
So that to me makes it, it's just a matter of, are they going to be the 11 seed or the 12 seed? So that to me is relevant.
By the way, Conference USA on the CBS Sports Network for those of you that want to gamble on that game.
Yes, 7 o'clock, CBS SN. Listen, before we get to the NFL, it's another really good college hoop weekend. I mean, 7 o'clock tonight, if the football doesn't interest you, on ESPN2, it's Gonzaga and Kentucky. I mean, just quick 2 hours, bada bing, bada boom. I mean, the games that are being played tomorrow in college hoop, Purdue, Iowa State's 2 top 10 teams, Duke, Michigan State's 2 top 10 teams. All right.
Illinois plays Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. It's later at night. They're both top 15 teams.
Exactly. Arizona, Auburn are 2 top 20 teams. Louisville, Indiana are 2 top 25 teams. I know we're all football all the time. I get it. But there's some really good college hoop going on.
Heat and Magic tonight at 7 o'clock in Orlando. Orlando's a 5.5-point favorite in that one. And Lakers Celtics as well tonight. Spurs and Cavs. Pretty good night of NBA action, believe it or not.
Yeah, I would agree. Lakers Celtics on Amazon Prime at 7.
Not much in the NHL tonight. They played a lot of games last night. Vegas and the Devils, probably the best game on the slate in the National Hockey League tonight. So,
percentile,
a great Saturday and a really good NFL Sunday. Really good.
Percentile chance of an upset by Indiana from 0 to 100. The percentage chance you give them against the Buckeyes is
33.
Ooh, that's higher than I thought your Card Shark number was going to be there. Since you've been very confident about laying the points, I didn't think you thought they had a 1 in 3 shot at winning.
I just like 33. It's a good number, so that's what I gave you.
I'm going 42.
It's a very high Card Sharks number for that question.
Yeah, I think they got a shot.
Change that card. Yep, there. We started the show with a 40-year-old reference. We're finishing one with a 40-year-old reference.
At least.
That is an underrated all-time game show as they're bringing all these game shows are making like a huge comeback.
You know why?
Cheap.
They're cheap.
They're cheap.
Exactly.
So Steelers and Ravens Sunday, Colts and Jags Sunday, Bears and Packers Sunday night, Texas and Chiefs. That's 4 really solid NFL games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And where is the upset this week? Last week it was Carolina against the Rams. Any of the big boys who are 7 and 9 point favorites this week losing? You know,
I've got a 5.5 point favorite losing. I took the Bengals to take down the Bills.
that would be something that would hand the division to the Patriots. During their bye week, you could pretty much just hand it to them. As it is, they're going to be in position to come back from their bye, and if they beat the Bills, they'll win the East. So it doesn't take much more at this point for New England, but that would be big.
So enjoy all of it. Take in as much sports as you can. Take in as much college football as you can. We kind of poo-pooed championship weekend a little bit on this show. I'm watching a bunch. I really am. We only get so many of these weekends a year. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy tomorrow. And then you've got a hell of a Sunday ahead of you. And in the mix in and around it, check out a little college hoop. Maybe even a little NBA. Maybe even a little NHL. Lots of sports. Great sports weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. If you miss any of the show, millerandmoulton.com to download what you missed. We'll be back bright and early Monday morning, 6 a.m.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.